Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Hey, Kevin. And hey, Chef Alton. Chef Alton, there was something I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Did you make that ice cream that you shared on Discord? 'Cause that looked pretty good. Yeah, 1 week until next fest. So basically anything that's not gonna help the player experience somehow, I need to hold off on, such as marketing. Hey Ryan. But yeah, I'm excited. I am I'm just really excited. I'm really excited. I was looking through some of the games on Next Fest because there's a dev preview, and I have kind of a weird relationship with buying games at this point. Next Fest doesn't have games you can buy; it's all demos, no purchases. But I looked through the demos, and the bar for installing a demo is not very high for me. However, knowing that there's no way to purchase the games because it's Next Fest, I feel a little weird. Like, oh, if I like the game, I can't play it. I have to wait now. And then I looked through, okay, well, fine. Why don't I find games that I can play? So I looked outside of the Next Fest stuff. And then I was just like, is this worth $10? Is this worth $15? Like, I'm the exact customer that I'd probably hate as a game developer. Hypnotic Vine? I did, yeah. It's partially magical. Not full magical since it's a protein dessert. Yeah. Well, it looked good. Was it peanut butter? It looked like it looked like there was peanut butter in it, just based on the color. And now based on that you say protein, and that peanut butter is a very common protein thing. Flavor, I should say. Yeah, so anyway, I was looking through these games. I didn't find anything I really wanted to play, I guess. And then there's another kind of minor comment, which is that I think Next Fest had something like 4,700 games in February, something along those lines. One, this figure is absurd. Think of 15,000 games being in Next Fest across the 3 Next Fests that there are every year, and that's not even representative of every game launching that year. And then just think, how would I ever sort through, even if that was, let's say, 1,000 games? That might be easier. But 15,000 games, and then how am I competing with these? And then you look through some of them, and they're just like, they're clearly not intended to be like high-level professional games. There are some that it looks like somebody just took a game jam game and spent like an extra month and they put it online. Anyway, that's just random thoughts about all this stuff. I've also been looking at how to market a game. I want to add this to my homepage to convince me to read this more. I think mainly it's the blog section I want to look at. Courses are, yep, whoa, $325. Jeez, I haven't looked at these. Yeah, I think I'll just stick to the blog. I do wonder, like, all of this is a vehicle, presumably, for these courses. I do wonder if the courses are actually valuable, if it's helped people. Because it's not like the course is going to make your game successful. It's going to give you the knowledge to make your game successful at best. And at worst, waste a bunch of your money. And I wonder what it would fit into for me. Let's put it under miscellaneous. Add link. How to market a game. There. Chocolate peanut butter. Nice. Homepage. There we go. Okay, so now it's on my homepage. How to market a game. I can go here. I was reading through some of this stuff. Where was it? There was something about... Yeah, this. How many wish lists can I get from Steam Next Fest? I'll paste this in chat. But some of the things... Actually, there's a picture right here. He basically said that if you've got at least 2,000 wish lists going in, that you have a much higher chance of succeeding. And even just from this little graphic that you see that you... I mean, I can just show the graphic here. Here's the larger version of this. So wish lists earned are on the y-axis. So the more, the better. And the number of wish lists before you started Next Fest are on the x-axis. And you can see that there's this clustering here. If you have fewer than 2,000 wish lists, the best that any of these games did was getting about, 4,000 wish lists? New ones. That's pretty good. This person had like 400 wish lists and multiplied that by 11 when they exited Next Fest. But most of the games that did really well are in the greater than 2,000. And he posited that it's not some special algorithm thing. It's not like Steam is going to show your game to more people because you have 2,000 wish lists. It just means that clearly you have a good enough foundation for a game and you already know how to do some marketing yourself. So we are sitting at 1,820 wish lists, I think. And that number has really slowed down. Also, one of the things we're probably going to do is play test. Yeah, I think playtesting is going to become more and more important. Anyway, let's get to work. I've been rambling for too long. This is a work stream, not a rambling stream. We're going to start how we always start on Monday with our very quick tenant review. Sustainability. I've had this general feeling of doing too much, but I don't think it's for the game itself. I want to keep an eye on this after Next Fest. And bricklaying. I've certainly been trudging my way through triage. The old triage trudge. Another thing we're going to have to do is... Yeah, I'll just say so all's good here. Yeah, in general, I think things are going fine there. Friday, we should probably like figure out what I'm actually doing during Next Fest on stream. I could play games. I think it might be a nice little like celebration thing. Yeah, maybe there should be a day of just playing games. It would be fun. And yeah, I'll write it's more for fun than for any sort of stream/game goal. It's almost douage now. It actually is. We're getting to a more manageable list. I even did some over the weekend. All right, so this part's done. This part's done. Change release instructions. This one's pretty quick. We can do this. Use descriptive titles for Steam updates. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about this. This is me reading some of the how to market a game. And this particular tip, I think came from there, which is like, don't just name things, patch notes. Maybe put a little title next to it that says, hey, this is the biggest feature here. And I think a good example of this is this one, fun new Skeleseller changes. This is more eye-catching at least than the other one. Also adding pictures. I mean, I should probably start doing both of those things. Post any announcements. See past news for examples. Yeah, consider giving a subtitle even directly in the title. E.g., what have we been saying? Yeah, Skeleseller patch notes. The 1.2.3 patch notes. Farming changes or something like that. Yeah. And then what was the other thing I said that I should do? Oh yeah, consider adding pictures of anything that can be visually seen. Any visual changes, I guess. It just adds more interest to what's going on. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey, Mystical Cell. Almost a year. Feels like just last week you resubbed. Thank you for the resub. Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy. I'm in other people's streams sometimes, and I see people who've subbed for like 7 years or 8 years. And I think I've been a partner for that long, but I've turned off subscriptions for a long time there. And then Twitch turned them back on for me. So it's still nice to see people supporting the channel and wanting to resub. Okay, I think this is it. I think we'll check this in. Yeah. Every SVG is changed because I was testing something the other day. We can get rid of that. Update, release instructions. Yeah, that's it. Okay, next up is the town in a sub viewport. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I think we started with a town in a sub viewport, and I don't think it matters anymore. Yeah, there's a sub viewport container here, but it takes up the whole screen. It used to be that the battles would take up the bottom of the screen, so we needed to limit the town. But I think we can get rid of this, and I wonder if there's a performance improvement by doing so, but I don't know how we'd even measure that. I think what we can do is just move this stuff up here. And then get rid of this. And yeah, I don't think there's any problem by doing this. Let's just try running this and see what happens. It might like terribly break. It might say that we can't find, this thing has a script to try to find something. Maybe that'll break. I don't know. Yeah, something broke. So what is it that's breaking? And it might not even be worth doing this, even if there is some small benefit, because maybe we want to undo this at some point. So node not found from here, town 290. Town node path. Yeah, the node path is going to change now. It's on town view / container / town viewports, just town. Although we probably never needed to do this anyway. We could have just said %town, right? Yeah. Let's try running this. I still expect there to be errors. Huh, no, everything's fine. Everything still works. Huh. Yeah, hey Scholar. Let me tell you look great today. No one's told me that. Thank you though. This is a new shirt that I got. Although I guess it looks pretty similar, at least from the size that I have OBS. It looks pretty similar to a bunch of other shirts that I have. But if I increase the size, no, it still looks pretty similar. It's like a purplish shirt. Hey Kaval. Assets, I think you might be looking for this. I can alias it. It does fit your vibe. Well, thank you. Happy Monday to you. Yeah, this is working. So how do we tell if this is better? I guess the one thing I don't know we should use as a proxy for performance. It's not C# performance that would improve. So we could look through one of these monitors and check the FPS and turn off VSync. Quick move, edge panning, since these lives inside the town viewport. I think I have edge panning turned off. No, I don't. Yeah, I think that's broken right now. Quick move menu, we should definitely test out. Like I said, I'm not sure this is even worth checking in. We might want to just leave this anyway, but I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, the quick move thing works. I wonder if anything would have gotten better as a result of doing this. Like we have some code in town, we have some code here that makes sure the right click goes to the right location. We wouldn't need this anymore. In fact, this isn't even in use right now because this script was just taken out. But yes, I did break the, I did break this. This is inside of a canvas layer though. Why would that matter? Huh, yeah, I wonder about that. Oh wait, no, it's working now. It's just not working over here. No, it's only working on the top. No, it's working on the right. Wait, what is going on here? I'm confused as to what's happening. Huh, weird. There's like one pixel I think I can hover over that'll make it move. It's also in a VBox container. We still want it in the sub viewport for any post-processing effects. I'll probably keep it because I don't really see the point in not keeping it, but yeah, I was just kind of curious about this. Hey Lammy, and hey Smack. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. I know I broke something. I just want to see how does this look. And we need to make sure that this is the same in the times that we test this. So let's just center on the slime, which I know that just broke. In fact, let me just keep that open over there. All right, so I'm centered on the slime. FPS is at about 120. This probably doesn't mean anything. It just jumped up to like 225. It's dropping, it's going up. Yeah, this is probably a really bad way of measuring things. It's hovering in like the 210-ish range. Anyway, okay, let's just remember that. 210. Now I'll go revert all these changes. There's a modulate color in there. Oh, I was messing with the panel, I guess. Visible. Yeah, so delete all this. And then try launching again. Now we did have the garbage slime, so I'm going to get that again. And there is an error here. Cannot deselect tabs. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, so now FPS is hovering around 120. Okay, now it's shooting up. And yeah, it looks like it's pretty much the same. I don't know. It's hard to tell. And I don't care about testing this anymore. So yeah, I don't think there's much of a reason for us to have this. Hey, Blue Jack. Probably look in the visual profile tab. I imagine this will only affect draw calls if at all. Oh, hey, there's a... Can we even use this? Huh. I guess we can't use the other kind of profiler. Start. Interesting. All right, so what does this do? Render viewport 0, render viewport 2. I wonder which ones are viewport 0 and 2. And why is there no viewport 1? I'm not going to look into this anymore. I don't think this is very important. Because if we did have a performance problem, it's not with having another viewport. I think it's with having our ECS fetching nodes all the time. This thing keeps changing modulate. All right, let's just make sure that never happens. This Godot? Yeah, this is Godot. All right, so don't save this. That must be part of what's changing that. I'm not actually sure. Then I'll just revert this thing and then go back over to here and reload. Okay. So yeah, town probably doesn't need to be in a sub viewport. And maybe there are some things we eventually want to do where having it in a sub viewport is good. So I'm just going to leave it. I think it's fine. Loving the split key. What switch am I using? I think I've got all the details on it in that doesn't actually link to the repo. How would I find that repo? Adam13531/CRKBD. No. I don't know where I put this. Yeah, it is there. Yeah. Here's the entire parts list I got. To answer your question quickly, it is this. The Kale low profile switches. Reds. Okay, I guess I'll add this to my stream of consciousness note here. Yeah, sure thing. I had a note to look into the town being in a sub viewport. It turns out this isn't needed any longer. Although doing the simplest possible move, simplest possible change to the scene tree makes it so that edge panning doesn't work as expected. However, I don't think I'm going to move the town out of the viewport because it's not really hurting anything and may cost more to add back in at some point. Although something that would be nice is it would simplify our scene tree. Right, all this stuff is in town scene. It's not really the town scene. It's more like the game. Yeah, we should probably just rename town scene to game. Oh well. All right, now what's this say? Look into this. Oh yeah. This isn't something we should probably do on stream today, but I found this through the how to market a game. There are I'm actually kind of surprised they don't like gray out some of the old festivals. Wait, deadline 2021. Hold on a second. I thought that all this stuff was for 2025. Oh god, this is all over the place. Oh man. What is the I don't know if this is even being maintained. Can you sort this? How do you sort things? It looks like you can. I want to I don't know. I guess we could just do this. No, we can't do that. How do you what am I doing? All right, I don't care. Yeah, I should probably look into this at some point. I wonder how you find out about any of these things. Like, are people posting about this in such a way that you could just search for it on Google? Is it just in certain subreddits and it's otherwise not advertised? Do you just have to look at people who've compiled lists like this one? You need to add your own view first, yeah. Probably apply for 6 and get in. A curated event, 30 games. Is that the one you're talking about? 6-1 indie. Strives to be a critical backbone for the indie scene, supporting developers and bringing overlooked games to players. So my initial thought is like, how do I find out about games? Because I've never heard of this thing. So like, how many people is this reaching? And it doesn't really matter, right? If it costs me pretty much nothing to enter something like this. So yeah, I probably need to look at not this one. Oh, Seattle Indies Expo. Okay, what's this? Annual celebration of Pacific Northwest indie games and game creators. August 31st at the Motif. Okay, hold on. This is a Google Maps link. I can't just open this. It'll leak everything. Okay, so it's near, well, near-ish to Pike Place, I guess. I'm just gonna say near-ish to Pike Place. It's on Pike Street. Yeah, it's like 4 blocks away. All right, so what is this? August 31st, 9 hours. Or there's an online thing. Watch anytime. Where's their thing? How many? 900 followers. I think I've been on this channel before. Because I went to the Seattle Online Broadcasters Association at one point, and I did not enjoy that. Maybe I should look into this. Past years apply. Like, how many people look at this stuff? Let's see. Have I heard of any of these games? How about let's start there? So far, no. Still so far, no. Is this AI artwork? Looks like something that would be AI, but it's hard to tell. But still nothing. Now, I know this is not a great test for this stuff. And then, all right, let's try something else here now. This Astro Haulers, for example. Astro Haulers, Steam. How well are they doing? They only have an itch page. Okay, let's click one other one. Battle Train. Battle Train Steam. Okay, Battle Train is on Steam. Has no reviews, is only a demo. Planned release is in 16 days. It's a card game. Kind of interesting. This is called Battle Train when a game called Monster Train that's also a card game that's train themed exists. Anyway, I don't know. I will need to look into this stuff. I should probably add this as like homework for maybe next week. Tuesday. Or actually, why even next week? I guess I could look into it tomorrow. It probably shouldn't take too much time. Look into this list and see if I can apply for anything. Maybe, hey Sakurai, maybe try to figure out how I would find these festivals myself. The problem with any sort of list compiling this stuff, like let's say it was a bunch of YouTubers who might cover indie games, is that eventually that list becomes useless because someone needs to maintain it. But even if it's maintained, then it means that people are just spamming those YouTubers. Like word gets out that, oh, hey, I use this marketing list, and now those people just get spammed with tons and tons of games, and that's not really helpful anymore. I found a long time ago a list of, I don't know, I'll just make up a number, like 200 YouTubers. And the list at that point was like 4 years old. So I looked through the list. Some of the YouTubers had just stopped making videos. It said like, last video 3 years ago. So that was quickly out of date. Some of the YouTubers had blown up. They were like in the million subscriber range, and they weren't gonna play some random indie game at that point anymore. And then I did reach out to some of the other YouTubers. This is back in the Botland days, and I don't even remember if any of them got back to me. But I think it was mostly a waste of my time. Hey, typical. Are you hydrated enough? Yeah. I had like 20 ounces of liquid before the stream. I've got my massive water bottle here. All right. What else? Prioritize GitHub NextFest issues on NextFest. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go merge PRs. Kevin has submitted 3 of these. Let's start with, oh wait, no, let's start with this one. No, let's start with this one. Oh, so there are 5 ready. Oh yeah, because there were some from Friday and I hadn't looked at them. Take your typical. Make sure you're hydrating too. 1011. Kevin is speaking in binary. Oh, did I, before I do this, did I push whatever changes I had? Yeah, I think it was just at the release notes. All right, open this up, close all the tabs, launch the game. Let's see what this does. This is part of 3.15, follow up to 1003, extracts the in-battle UI elements, flee and auto battle outside of the instance viewport. Reasoning is that otherwise these elements will get scaled when we change the battle window in size and scale. Should also make these buttons always look as crisp as the others. Okay, so wait, if we're doing this, we don't have text in this scene yet, do we? Oh yeah, let's try this. It should look identical to what we've seen before. Yeah, so there's the flee button. We should be able to click it. Yep, we should be able to drag by this. We can. And now if we get auto battle and then start a battle again, we have the auto battle button. Yeah, so this does exactly what I would expect. The main benefit we'll get is if we also put text in there. Did I write this down? No, I didn't. All right, well, let's review the PR. I'm guessing we have a canvas layer inside of here now. In battle screen. It's a control. Hey, Ramy. Okay. Let me just think about this. 1011. Why a control and not a canvas layer? This isn't an important thing. This is more of a I'm curious kind of thing. I do like how it simplifies this scene though, because everything used to be inside instance. And then we'd hide these things. So we probably have a lot of script changes that need to happen. So the instance slot gets the in battle screen. Where is that? Here. This is inside of a content container, which is a margin container. Okay. Anyway, I think this is fine. I mean, screen space outside the battle window. Okay, gotcha, yeah. Want to ask a streamer friend of mine to play Skeleseller and give his first unbiased opinion. If you do it, would you prefer him to do it before or during Next Fest? Or rather, would one be more useful than the other? I don't think the timing matters too much. Because at this point, we're 7 days away from Next Fest. The last update I made on Steam was... Whoops, what am I doing? When was it? May? Wednesday? Okay, it was 5 days ago. And we'll make some updates this week. But will any be like super impactful? So I'm not sure. I think we'll have enough eyes on the game during Next Fest where probably then this week would be best. So I can do some more user research. And if I had to pick a day, I'd probably say Wednesday through Saturday of this week is probably best. But don't tell them that like that's a requirement, you have to do this. If they're like, well, I wanted to do it on Tuesday, then yeah, Tuesday's totally fine. Or if they don't want to stream at all, that's totally fine. And then yeah, their feedback would definitely be good. If you could also tell them to enable VODs or put it on YouTube or something, I think that would also be really helpful. And they don't need to do anything extra if they already have VODs. And then maybe if you could make sure I get the link to that. They don't need to send it to me necessarily, but yeah, that way I can watch a video. Because I have a user research session set up for Saturday of this weekend. I wouldn't be able to direct the when. They just stream whenever suits. Gotcha. Yeah. As long as there's a video, I think that would be very important. I like getting feedback from people who play the game regardless. But when there's a video, I can see what they struggle with or what they don't know to even tell me. Sometimes people find bugs without knowing they even found a bug. And then if they don't know that they found a bug, they don't comment on it. VODs are enabled. Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you. And thanks for asking. Hey, man. Yeah, I do want to make some changes to pacing, which I don't know if we'll get to this week. And I don't have an easy way of testing other than just playing the game a bunch. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, now we have a bunch of script changes. You know, I've always wondered about this. We have an instance slot. We had the various battle screens, so now we have in battle screen versus walking to portal versus end battle screen. And all of this is inside the instances manager. The instance slot. The instance itself, I guess, is just the battle map. No, it's not just the battle map. It also gets the battlers. And instance slot is the whole window. So now in battle screen is going to be on top of that. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. Okay. Well, let's take a look at this because I don't know if we ever need to hide the flee button now, except for in the tutorial. So like this is probably not needed because I'm assuming that when we flee, we're going to hide this entire screen. Yeah, that's my guess. Only took like 5 hours leaving an auto farming wisdom sludge to hit max level. Just come level in adventure to spend the 5k sludge every hour. So, I mean, at that point, you could just change your save file if you want to. Any advice on the final crunch of a project? My team and I already have all the puzzle pieces, UI, API set up, but not integrated and all over the place. I think the final crunch is more mental than anything else. And for that, I've got this command about bricklaying, which is that you just need to look at anything I'm doing is moving something forward. It might not be the most fun, but it needs to be done. But yeah, I think the mentality is the most important part. And then the next most important part is the normal prioritization that you would do. So for example, are you fixing some like refactoring code is probably not the thing you should be doing. You should be focusing on marketing, like user facing stuff, stability, security, all the usual things. But you won't get any of that done if you've got the mindset of like, oh, I just want to be finished with this. So yeah, I think mentality is number one at that point. All right, so hide buttons. Where is this called? Modulate and show. It's probably not needed. We could probably just call hide on it. Is that something Kevin added or was that already there? In battle screen, waves cleared notification. Let's search for that. Yeah, good luck with your home stretch. Huh. No, I don't see this. Unless it's in here. It probably is in here. Ah, yeah, there it is. So I'll need to look at this. It's probably not necessary though. Did I leave this to do there? Yeah, I think it's probably not needed. We could test it out. I could just I could go to any location with 2 waves. So this one, I mean, let's unlock all the adventurers. Let's click grandma's things. Let's put a bunch of adventurers in there. And then let's look at this. We gotta wait for them to reach the portal. There. All right, so does anything look funky when we say waves cleared? Or the next wave thing, wave 2 of 2. Yeah, I think that's fine. Whoa. Auto battle went super fast for some reason. Yeah, something's wrong with that. Yeah, we could do it either way. I see. May want to hide the entire in battle screen rather than hiding individual buttons. We can't show both in battle screen and the end battle screen anyway. But even if we could, in battle screen wouldn't do anything once the battle ends. Okay, hold on. There's another bug. Auto battle is going way too fast. When you have 4 party members that don't take any damage. There should be a minimum time in there somewhere. Auto repeat. Where is that? Instance slot. Auto repeat timer. There's a timer somewhere. Where is that? Here it is. No, that's the stage transition timer. But either way, there should be a timer. Oh, wait, where is that thing? Oh, end battle screen has it. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so we figure out the time in here. Require minimum time must be set to false. But how is that possible? This is only ever called from 2 locations. So it's this one. Create instance. No, that's wrong. Something's wrong. This just passes in whatever was passed into this. Require minimum time is true. Huh. That is strange. Okay, well, let's just, oh, it's already running. Okay, so then let's go find this and put a breakpoint there. Did I change this from making the changes to regeneration? I don't think I would have. Require minimum time right now is true. So this is going to return. Oh, this is not a number. Oh. Possibly this was branched off of something that didn't have this fix. Yeah. This doesn't have the fix. Okay, never mind. This is a different problem. I fixed this on main and it just hasn't been merged in. Yeah. Where was that? Yeah, this one. Fix the issue with not a number of life. Okay, then we don't have to worry about that. That was my fault. I just want to make sure nothing else was broken there. All right, so going back to the code for this one then. So in battle screen is going to show no matter what. There's got to be a show somewhere. Init. This is only once you start the instance. It's just added in the editor. Yeah. Okay. So what's happening, if I'm not mistaken here, End battle screen. The slot has the end screen. Where's walking to portal? Yeah. Okay. So instance slot has walking to portal and end battle screen, but not in battle screen. Seems like we should make this consistent. And then we should probably hide in battle screen as soon as the battle is over. So only one of these things would ever show at a time. And always one of them is going to show. Yeah, so only one of the three ever shows. And we always have one showing. And part of this is because I think that auto repeat thing that we have, where is that? Yeah, it comes from the battle screen. I think this should come from the instance slot. But this is synced with something else. Why do you say this slot doesn't have in battle screen? They all end up in the same container? Oh, it looked like... Okay, maybe I was wrong about that. Yeah. I am probably wrong about that. Because I think it's passed into the instance. Yeah, it's passed into the instance. Okay, got it. So... where do we store auto repeat? Auto repeat is stored in the instance slot. But then for instance, we pull it from the in battle screen. By the way, I think a lot of this code was kind of weird to begin with. So this is probably now made more obvious by putting this in a different file. It's probably this way originally. Yeah, I think this was a mess. Like we don't have access to the slot here. And even this, like if we just got access to the parent and just had a reference to is auto repeat on, we wouldn't even need this stuff. What do I want to do for this? So instance slot has this, an instance, and the auto repeat property. Instance needs this. For the in... No, wait, no, what? This could be initialized from the parent then. Yeah, man. Fleet battle, what does that do? Battle system, not fleet battle. Battle stage ended. Which is what, just gonna invoke something upward? Yeah. Hey, Karada. Oh, man. And debug win instance. I don't know what I want to do here. Hey, Jane. Hello. Hope your lunch is good. Make one of those fancy state machines and always have the one of the three screens. Yeah. I think that could be interesting. Although I think the main problem I have with the code we have here is that it's all over the place. Like we emit events going upward, but then we pass properties in going downward and then like store them in multiple locations, it sounds like. Like this thing being initialized here is so that we can access, so that we can get these. This one's not technically needed. And this needs to be passed in as a result of this, but the parent has that. So the parent should be, I guess the parent could initialize it anyway. Although then we still need to pass in the in-battle screen. But the instance essentially is the in-battle screen. That's what I'm thinking. I know it's a different component. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know what I want to do with this. Do I want to refactor this now? And all right, so in battle screen is added in the instance slot, but initialized in the instance. It could be initialized in the instance slot, but we would still need to pass it to the instance so that we could listen for events since they need the battle system. Which what instance has? Yeah. So yeah, I think the instance is the in battle screen. Where do we add the instance? Add child to the viewport. Where's the viewport? Here. So the instance goes there, but then the in battle screen goes on top of it. So yeah, they can't be one and the same when it comes to the nodes that we're using. So why does the instance need access to this? I think it should be listening to events. But those events are coming from the screen. Maybe they should come from the instance slot. And then the instance listens for this on the instance slot. So yeah, imagine we did something like this. And then got rid of these two things. This could just be slot.id. This could be slot.isAutoRepeatOn. Which this wouldn't even need to be here, I guess. And then we would do these things. Except even that's not necessary. The instance slot could call into the instance when it knows it wants to flee a battle. But I guess it's doing through this. Man. Flee battle. Yeah. All right. I don't know what to do here. We have two high level options. We like clean up the code a little bit and merge this PR, or we like redesign this so that it's as sensible as it can be. And I just like this option feels hacky, probably incurring even more tech debt. But this option is a waste of time. Given that next fest is next week. And that's why I feel like both options are bad. I guess the question is, why do we even do this? Could we just not merge this PR? Did I write about the font in here? Oh man, I don't know what this is. Do option 1, then revisit option 2 after next fest. I'm trying to think what this PR even gains us though. Hey, Macro. Tech debt has its own commercial value. I think incurring tech debt is fine when you're doing it mindfully. Like in this case, we know we have a week until next fest. Yeah. I guess option three high level options is don't merge this at all. The PR on its own doesn't do anything for us. We would also need to render text in this new control. And that's just to prevent the need for upscaling. Let me think about this. Then we could stop upscaling the viewport, which again wouldn't really be a big deal. Not having the buttons resize when the battle window changes. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, then never mind. I don't think this is an option. Hey, Crispy, just started using a split keyboard using Homero. Feels slowed down because of the mod keys. You face the same issue. Yeah, I didn't like Homero mods. Homero mods just always felt like I had to slow down. And I know some people somehow figured out a way to make them not slow themselves down. And I know there are options for controlling it, but I just didn't like it. In theory, it sounds really cool, and I love the idea, but there was just too much experimentation to get this. So instead, I switched to one-shot mods, and I have a combo for command. I have a dedicated key for shift, and then the rest are in layers. So what's a one-shot mod? So let me turn on the lights on my keyboard. So now you can see when I press a key, it's just going to enable some lights, right? When I have command held, so let's say I press this key stays lit. So now command is held. And if I press A on my keyboard, I've just sent command A, and now this is no longer lit. So that is a one-shot mod. I enabled a modifier. I did one thing with it, and it turned it off. So similarly, if I want to do like a cut, so right, I want to press command X, I can press just command, and now it's enabled, and I press X, and it cuts that line. Now when I type another X, it's typing the letter X. So that I find a little bit more helpful for me. And like I said, I have a combo for it. So I can press these three keys, and now command is enabled, and then press A and highlight everything. Please do not segment your messages. Is it possible to do Vile? I don't know. I've only used Vile for like 2 minutes on a friend's keyboard. I just started using QMK for the beginning. So I'm not sure. But you could just search for Vile one-shot mods. It might be Corn Vile and one-shot mods. It says -2. One-shot keys. I'm not sure. Hey, Luco. Kind of eliminates the stretch holding the command key down. So on here, you could do this kind of however you want. The stretch that you're talking about on command, I think is probably not something you feel. Maybe on control you might feel. I guess it depends on the keyboard that you have. But since there are 6 thumb keys here, and since your thumbs pretty easily hit all of them, you could just say that 3 of these are dedicated keys. You'd have like a command, a shift, and an alt or something on this. Now, granted, if you want to press them all, or you only want to press 2, you pretty much can't press the outer 2 with just your thumb. I guess you can do that. Do you understand me? Yeah. I do. I am gonna time you out though. Sorry. Please do not segment your messages. that was intended for you, Crispy. Yeah, and feel free to ask more questions afterward. I have like 2 rules in chat, and it's don't segment messages and don't share personal info. And I don't want to have to warn you multiple times. Yeah, the slowdown thing, like I said, I think one-shot mod should pretty much fix that for you. Okay, so yeah, I think we can check this in. We already had some tech debt here, so we'll just end up with more. Yeah. Oh yeah, I hadn't read the rest of this. Kevin even explained it right in here. All right, well, let's look through this again then. Let's also look through this. I hadn't really taking a quick look, but I don't think there's anything controversial here. We have a button for toggle auto battle, a button for flee, and the waves cleared notification. Yeah, so this is fine. Then instance removes all of those things. Oh, there was a canvas layer in here. Interesting. Wait, so that means that we could put the new stuff into a canvas layer too. And it wouldn't mean that it's... Wait, did I misunderstand that? It'd be in screen space outside the battle window. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Let me look up the documentation for this. Ended up inside the sub viewport. Oh, I see. I see. So it made sense in that context. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then that's fine. Let's take a look. Yep, this is looking good. Cool, cool, cool. AE Dragon. Auto battle tooltip. Oh, the tooltip's made in there too, right? I didn't actually look at that. I'm pretty sure they did. Yes, and yes, yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this one's done. Instance slot out of the in-battle screen. That is very reasonable. So yeah, it's just these two scripts that we need to look at. Okay, so let's delete the to-do item. Why was this here though? We set this to completely transparent and then showed this thing, but that's done here now. Yeah, so this is not needed. So we fade in waves cleared over half a second and then wait for a second and a half and then fade it out. Out of curiosity, if I set this to 1.5 seconds, see if this works. Take this after next fest and write a small design for it. Yeah, I think that would help. I think all of the battle creation stuff is like, it's just all over the place. But it's also probably never actually that important. It slows down investigations and it slows down future PRs. But as far as a user is concerned, like they don't know that the code doesn't look great. And that's why this is always difficult to figure out what we want to do here. All right, so we just go into any battle that has multiple waves. And we watch for the fade in on the wave notification. Hey, Sarah. Yeah, nice. Okay, that's looking fine. I just want to make sure that was good. Because I didn't see it fade in originally. Okay, yeah, let's keep looking through this. At least all this stuff is encapsulated here. We do have the town, don't we? Yes. Okay. Debug win instance. I didn't test that out, but that should be fine. Yep. Cool. Hey, Crusader. An hour late. Has it been an hour? Oh my god. Wow. That time flew by. Yeah, welcome in. We have a lot to do. All right, so this gets hidden by default. We could actually hide this inside the scene. I don't think it's important. The other thing I kind of wonder about is, I could have probably taken a picture in that time, but I just didn't. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so the other thing we could do is when this is larger, we could have this text take up more space. I don't think it's needed. Didn't know about segmenting another screen. Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah. No worries. And thank you. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good here. Init. Yeah, a lot of this code was moved. I should probably test during the tutorial, just make sure this is looking good. It's only the very first battle that you can't flee because you're guaranteed to win it, so there's no reason to flee it. So let's try that out. gonna speed this up. Build, hire, send into battle. We're just making sure there's no flee button here. Yeah, there are no buttons for anything. You can't control this fight at all. You can't even close it. Let me finish this, I suppose. So now the next battle you do should allow you to flee. Yeah. Okay, that's looking good. This is good. This is good. Yeah, so I think the only thing that I find a little strange about this, and it's not super important, is that we have this hide buttons here at all. Because the only place this is used is when we should hide the entire battle screen. In fact, we could just delete the battle screen, right? In battle screen.hide. Do we make a new one every time? It's added to instance, and there's a new instance every time. So we could just hide the whole thing. We could even just free the whole thing. Q free it and it should be fine. Now we do tend to use it here for is auto repeat on. But then as long as we never use it afterward, it should be okay. Although really, if we're going to do this, let's just hide it. Let's not free the whole thing. All right, let's try that. So now the button should go away because the whole screen should go away. And then we can get rid of hide buttons. Hiding and showing should work. Oh, because it's in the instance slot. So now we never show it. So I would have gotten it to work for this. So when I flee, it goes away. But then when I repeat, it doesn't show again. Yeah. So I got to make it show now. Okay, so where should that happen? When end battle screen goes away. But that's done in the instance slot. End battle screen. Yeah, we clear it. Set as walking to portal. Where do we add that? Here it is. That means we must remove this at some point. It's in clear. Probably in init. Yeah, everyone gets warned about it sooner or later, and then other people learn about it. By the way, that's kind of working as intended. You know, I sort of laugh when I go into new streams now, and as soon as you click the chat box, it pops up like, "Don't be racist in my chat. No, whatever. Don't talk about politics or religion." It's like, do we really need these warnings in people's chat? Like, everyone adds them because that's what every other stream did. And it's like, I don't think you need to be told not to be racist in a Twitch stream. That the streamer should just time you out or ban you if you're doing something that they don't like. And that way, it would, if so many streamers wouldn't have to use this, that when there is a special rule, you'd actually read that message. Because now I just skip it and I just think I'll just get timed out if I say something the person doesn't like. And it's just never happened to me. Because I'm not an idiot on the internet. By the way, I'm not taking a jab at someone in chat here. I'm not trying to say anyone here was an idiot for like segmenting messages. I recognize that that's a normal pattern that people do in other chat applications and that I have a special rule about it. What I mean is that there are streams where there's like no backseating, for example. That's a rule that you should be told about before you're chatting. Because otherwise people will start saying like, hey, you should, do this secret in the game, or you're playing wrong or something like that. And some people don't want that feedback. I know there are tags, but people don't notice tags on streams. Making a progress tracker on Google Sheets so the whole team can see if a module is in progress or blocked or completed. Out of curiosity, have you thought about doing that through an issue tracker like GitHub issues or GitHub projects? Because those already kind of have it built in and might be where they're already looking for this and wouldn't require you to do any extra maintenance. It's like game dev dialogue and pop-ups, message fatigue. Yeah, the message fatigue thing definitely happens. And like, how many people are reading those? And I used to have a message that said, please type FAQ or something, and people wouldn't do that either. So like, people didn't read that. What's backseating? Backseating is like telling the streamer what to do without being asked. And I mean, typically Twitch is mostly for games, right? Like, yeah, there's some game dev streams, but it's mostly for games. It's mostly for chatting. So imagine that you're playing like Super Mario 64 and they're like, you should try this jump technique or something like that. It's like, if the streamer didn't ask, don't share that. Or if you're spoiling story things for them. Oh, if you're talking about never knew about the FAQ thing, I got rid of that a while ago. There is no intro chat rules for my stream anymore. You can just type from the beginning. And like I said, I'll just moderate. I think it's easiest for everybody. All right, so this gets cleared, and I want to see where is clear called from. Close instance slot. There should be one other place where it's called. Yeah, init. So this is create walking here. Otherwise we initialize. Yeah, and so at this point we'd have the in battle screen dot show, and that should be fine. Yeah, I like FAW. It's first time chatter. I think like, if I wanted to spend some more time on this, I probably would do something along the lines of like detecting, segmenting, and then automatically just timing people out. And that way I wouldn't have to sound like a jerk. When I bring this up, it would be my bot sounding like a jerk, which is very different. People don't get mad at robots like they get mad at humans. All right, so we should see this button disappear. And then I repeat the battle and it should show up again. Perfect. Yeah. And there should be basically no way for me to break this. Yeah, good. Hopefully you had bots at that point. Yeah, and also I think if you time someone out for breaking a rule, like then kind of everybody becomes aware of that rule. And there is not a huge influx of people. Because I guess that's the other thing, right? A large stream versus a stream with a steady, man, I can't type, amount of new people. So let's say we had 5,000 people in the stream. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get a lot of new people. Although at that point, I guess you'd be visible in the overall Twitch directory. But like, how many people are really browsing game dev? I guess that's not the point. I guess the point is for you to have gotten to 5,000 people means you had an influx through something. So even if they're visiting from YouTube, it doesn't mean they need to be familiar with your Twitch rules. So never mind. I take back what I said. All right, so hide button should be completely unused now. Yeah. Hey, Goose. Type of people that tune into a dev stream are quite different too. So for the most part, there's not much need for moderation. Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. The moderation that we have needed is for any sort of like chat bots that might have existed, or like follow bots, or pretty much chat bots, I guess, is the only real problem. What else do we have? Yeah, every once in a while you just get like a total weirdo. And I have no problem banning total weirdos. My old rule of the stream was like, if you got banned in my stream, I never wanted to reverse it. Like, I wanted to make sure it was a lifetime ban. So if someone types a message like, hey, check out my site, and it's one of those like spam websites, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to miss that person. If they later came back and they're like, oh, whoops, didn't mean to type a spam message, I'd be like, I don't care. But then I reversed that policy. I thought, okay, some people do mess up, and then years pass and they change, and maybe they should be allowed back in. So I reversed a few bans. I don't know if I've seen those people back in chat. Hey, Boomer, and hey, Banana. At least I'm well designed, so I don't even know. You're a simulated bot. It's a double whammy of philosophy. Okay, so I looked at hide buttons. The other stuff we're going to keep as is. And yeah, the rest of this looks fine then. And that's fine. And then we just look through here. And it should be mostly removed code. This is fine. Because the in-battle screen has never changed, yeah. Current stage plus 1 total number of stages. I get we need to either add one on the caller side or add one on the callee side. I think I'd rather do it on the callee side. Waves cleared notification. Yeah, man, it doesn't matter. Suggest doing the game challenge where you build a bunch of clones, or dive into a game idea right away. I think if you're new to game dev, I would suggest making clones. I don't know how many I would try making, but yeah, I think it will really let you get a feel for just game dev. Because the problem is when you make your own game, there are two parts. There's the game dev part, and then there's the game design part. And the game design part is not a one and done kind of thing. You take an iterative approach where you're like, okay, my game is going to be a game where you play as an Italian plumber and you're jumping on obstacles, and that's that. And you try it and you're like, oh man, something's missing. And then you're like, oh, let's come up with power ups. Well, then you come up with power ups and you're like, let's have a double jump. And you're like, oh, that's not actually fun. Let's change that to a fire flower or something like that. That amount of time that you're spending is time you're not spending learning your engine, you're learning your tooling. It's not bad. If you want to become a game designer, yes, you should make your own games. But I think it's worth separating the two. So you're just learning game dev or you're just learning game design. And then you eventually combine it for your own game and you kind of slowly trudge through all the different steps. Because yeah, I think designing games is very tough. And this is generally why you see a lot of games out there that are game X but with this feature. It's like Zelda but in space. And the reason why is that then they have to do way less game design. It's like, oh well, we'll just take all the things that we know work from over there. This is also why making a game like Botland was as hard a process as it was. Because I was like, oh, let's come up with a new strategy game and then automate that new strategy game. We should have just taken an existing strategy game and automated it. And that way I wouldn't need to come up with what are the objectives and everything else. It should have just been like StarCraft, but automated and simplified. With crypto and loot boxes. Rupee coin. And yeah, no, Metroid is exactly, I think people need to look at it as Zelda in space, at least Super Metroid. By the way, did you ever play Super Metroid again, Medaic Bind? You said you wanted to give it another run, right? I'm curious if you ended up liking it. Okay, I think we'll check this in with a couple of changes that I made. I spent a lot of time on this, and I probably shouldn't have. Okay, so this is going to be remove to-do item. This is covered by the fade in function. Done. And then the rest of this is going to be change what we hide and show for battles. We used to just hide the in battle screen's buttons, but now we hide the whole in battle screen. Yeah, I think it should be. Oh, wait. Doesn't this mean we need to. Hold on a second. Something shows these buttons. Or sets they're visible, I guess. Yeah. But then the same thing needs to be done for auto battle. Yeah, they are. Sure. Okay. Hey, Chris. Something died in my soul. Hey, Campbell Soup. Still haven't played Super Metroid despite loving the Game Boy Advance Metroids. Man, I haven't played the Game Boy Advance ones in a while. I wonder if I'd find them fun. I really, really liked the Metroid series until Metroid Prime. And I'm like, what the heck is an FPS? I'm like, why can't I see Samus? And I just didn't get it, I guess. I know what an FPS is. I knew back then too. I just didn't like FPSs. And I just wanted Super Metroid version 2 and didn't get it. Now I think things have changed. What, Metroid Prime 4 is coming out on the Switch too? I think I would probably get that, and I'd probably have fun playing it. I liked Metroid Dread. And I think the best Metroid game was Super Smash Bros. Let's go merge this. Okay. We talked about this in stream. For the purposes of Next Fest, I don't think it's worth refactoring this, but we've been inheriting a lot of tech debt every time we touch this code because things weren't very straightforward to begin with. Anyway, made some minor changes, and overall this looks good. Smash Bros is a Kirby game. It is a Kirby game. It just happens to have Samus in it. Hey, Codex. Pretty sure Sonic was the better Metroid. You take that back. For whatever reason back then. So I think I played Mega Man X first. Did that launch first? Mega Man X and Super Metroid. Mega Man X launched in the US. Oh, it doesn't have a US launch. Well, anyway, December of 93 versus yeah. So Mega Man X was first, at least according to this, and the Super Metroid one splits it out based on region. So I'm assuming that Mega Man X launched everywhere at the same time. But anyway, so Mega Man X was first, and Mega Man X was an awesome game. I think it still holds up pretty well. So Samus and Mega Man are practically the same character if you think about it. They have arm cannons, they're in these mech suits, and they acquire abilities from their enemies, kind of, sort of. I guess Samus doesn't really, but in the later games, she definitely does. Hey, Mikros. You track backlogging GitHub projects? I stopped using GitHub projects. I think it all depends on the team size. The larger the team, the more you'll probably benefit from process. So imagine if it's just you working on something and you have, like, I don't know, an Excel sheet for tracking. This could be useful. It might not be useful. It all depends on how much is it costing you and how much is it paying off. So I used to use projects, and now I just use GitHub issues because it just wasn't worth tracking sprints or something. The number of people working on this at any given time was 3. And 3 people can just communicate over Discord of like, okay, I'm taking this issue or I'm taking this issue. And I don't need to track sprints or anything. As long as people click this button, assign yourself. If there was ever contention, then it's fine. So yeah, I think it's generally how I feel about processes. Make sure the process is working for you. And the only time you can't really do that is when you're not in control of it. So let's say you're working for a big company and you're on a team of like 150 people and you just hate how you have this red tape around something. Well, too bad. You're working at a big enough company. Probably can't change it. Where did the you could use Elm thing come from? Oh, I see. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the original box art? Oh, the one where Mega Man had a gun and not an arm with a gun. So he was more like what? Darn it, hang on. I was gonna make a joke, but now I've ruined the timing. Did Vincent have guns in Final Fantasy VII? Yeah. I was gonna say he was more like Vincent than Barrett. I should have just said it. I couldn't remember his weapons. Super basic Kanban board that I update once a month and occasionally log bugs too because I'm the only developer. Yeah, and if it helps for you, then yeah. I think it's good to keep. I think a lot of people somehow end up with process that doesn't help. And yes, I generally think this happens with bigger companies. Although with bigger companies, I've always kind of said this in the past, like behind every sign is a story, right? You see something that says keep off the grass. It's like someone probably, whatever, stepped on the grass and they had to replant the grass because it got worn down to nothing. It's like, okay, that's a story. And now we generally understand, yeah, sure, keep off the grass. But whenever it's like run a change by security or run a design by security or something, this is pretty standard in big companies. You better believe that every single big company had a design that caused a massive security flaw and cost the company tons of money and involved a bunch of lawyers. Like it's basically a guarantee. So now when you have to run designs by security, it's because they want to avoid those issues. And there's probably a team dedicated to that. So fixed tooltip. This one should be pretty straightforward. Tooltips didn't reflect the new behavior. Yeah, there is one problem with this. That this is hidden behind a feature flag. So this is now going to say make this battle window smaller, but it's going to say that for end users. So we got to be careful how we do this. Let me merge, or let me pull that and see if that's actually what's happening here. So 1012. So this is going to change the tooltips, but now we go find the scale. No, os.get feature debug. Has feature debug? Yeah, this. All right, where might this be located? Here. So if we set this to false, then I think this is going to have the wrong tooltip now. And I don't think this is a big deal, but I want to make sure I merge everything all at once. So now we create a window, pop this out. Oh, the minimize button goes away. Oh, then never mind. You don't have a problem here. Well, let's get rid of that. Try running this again. Hey, Morby, what format do you use for your commits and PRs? I have a... let me see where I stored this. Yeah. I use this. Four full stack devs in the team. We're confused what to tackle because we don't have any trackers before. Yeah, I think GitHub projects is worth trying then, especially if you already use GitHub and especially if you already use GitHub issues. Because the projects are backed by issues. I don't know if I can show you this because this hasn't been touched in forever. Yeah, anyway, it's a typical Kanban board, right? So the way you would use this is you would I haven't done this in a while. Where's the backlog of everything? Huh. I don't know. Anyway, you'd add issues here. Can I do this like this? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I could say something like, oh, let's fix this, change customer sprites. I click this thing and now it's in the backlog. Uh-oh. Also, I don't want to do this. I didn't actually mean to make the change. Can I just uncheck that? Yeah. And then you can drag things between these columns. You can plan upcoming sprints. You can see your roadmap, blah, 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 all the usual stuff. When's Skella buyer? I'd like to make a sequel to Skeleseller at some point, maybe in a different genre completely. Okay, make this window smaller is totally fine. If we eventually have a way of controlling the size of this, we should change the tooltip even further, but I think it'll be obvious then. But yeah, this looks good. I'm gonna merge this. And then there are two more stack. Oh wait, no, there are three more. 1025. This just needed to have the background picture shrink in size so it didn't float outside the parent controls. Right, let's try that out. 1025. Let me search for 0.4f comma. And we find this here. We set this to 2.5. And then start this. Cowboy theme. A skeleton cowboy. Has there been a game about a skeleton cowboy before? Possibly. Gunslinger. Yeah. I think I might have even heard of that. So no conventional commit format? No, I don't do that. I have found I do tend to type pretty verbose commit messages, and I have found that we don't tend to read 90% of them ever again. I guess with the conventional commit format, it's more for CI tools that might be using it, or maybe bundling up change logs or something. This just changes the expand mode. Okay, so change-wise, this looks good. We create an instance, we minimize this. Yeah. Oh, wait, we got to start a new battle if we're going to do that. I'm trying to look at this, and I'm having a problem because it's going too fast. I want to take a picture of this. All right, now let's turn that off, and let's go hire all the adventurers, and then go put 4 adventurers into a battle. Yeah, that looks good. Players won't see this button. That's why it says debug on it. So just imagine that's gone. And yeah, the rest of that looks fine. I use them more to think better and even include to-dos in my commit body at work. I think it's worth, I think a good commit message sometimes helps enforce good commits. Let's say you end up writing 5 paragraphs. Probably you should either split the commit or add documentation to the project or some other thing, look at an issue or project or issue or something like that. That probably indicates there's a problem. So yeah, if you're writing a to-do in a commit message, I think that means you should be filing an issue. the picture's getting out of bounds but I think it's because of the debug button. Oh, I didn't even notice. Oh yeah, you're right. All right, let's just turn that off then. Debug speed up. Where does that button show? Visible. Man, I don't. This is in the walk into portal screen. We can find the debug button here. Here it is. So yeah, what if we just don't show that and then set this thing back to 0.4F? To 5. There. Yes, this is looking good. So yeah, the debug speed up button is making it overflow. That's fine. More about the one that gets added to the main branch when I squash and merge. Yeah, I think that one's important. Then again, I always, I mentioned that probably like 90% of the time we don't reread get messages or commit messages. However, for that remaining 10% or whatever made up number this is, they can be really valuable. It's like, what was I thinking when I wrote that, or what extra context did I have? I think that is pretty nice. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, so note from Kevin, the debug speed up button on the walking to portal screen pushes the background picture outside of the panel. If we change the size of the small window to 0.25F. But that's only visible to developers. I should just include the picture. I don't know why I wouldn't do that. Yeah. And then let's just draw a giant arrow. Oh my God. Let's just draw a giant arrow there. Small tickets. Yeah, it's just easy to lose track of to-do items when they're in code or they're in commit messages. And if they are in code, then there's no context around the to-do items. And I've seen this happen for mega code bases. They end up with to-do items that are just like 4 years old and nobody knows what to do about it anymore. And there's no context for an issue. And yeah, I think if you're gonna have a to-do message in code, you should have an issue number in parentheses behind it, and then say something like, whatever, fix this, and then rely on this. But even this can get out of sync with your issue tracker. So it's best, I think, to just keep all of your to-do items in an issue tracker. The other reason being that you might not be the one to actually follow up on the to-do item. You might quit the job and then 2 years later somebody else does it. So yeah, having an issue tracker I think is good. To do sub to Adam on Twitch. Thank you, Karsten. Happy 9 months. Gonna be playing a new Elden Ring game while I watch to hopefully help contain my anger at the game. I've just looked at the reviews. You're talking about Night Rain. The reviews are mixed as of late. Zapway, thank you too. I never played the original Elden Ring though. I do want to try it at some point. I think I'd probably like it. Is the skeleton hand a normal hand at the start of the game before you die? That's I think you're the first person to ask that. No, it's still a skeletal hand. I guess technically it should be a human hand at this point, right? But I'm not going to do that. I think it's fine to just have it be the skeletal hand. Biggest issue was the game felt too fast. Are you talking about Elden Ring? Help me on the feature branch, keep track of the context I'm working. Yeah, I think that's true. I do every once in a while look back at like, what did I just do? And I see the commit messages and then they remind me. That's scope creep, the human hand. I agree. Well, it is scope creep, but it is also a nice touch. But it's an art request and it's it's really only technically needed to be a skeleton when you haven't started a game already. When you have started a game, then you might be, a skeleton in your mind at that point. So yeah, it's not really worth doing, but it's a nice touch, nice thought. Change to mostly positive. Oh wow, I think I just checked yesterday. So it's moving fast then. Okay, 2 more of these. 1026. GHPR checkout 1026. All right, let's go take a look at that. So this is items can stack on the ground. This does not animate. Should they? I don't think that's important. All right, so how do we do this? We go put a bunch of items on the ground. Then we go, wait, I already messed up. Okay, hang on. Let me redo this. Let's go to town perks and make item stacking cost nothing. Yeah, so 1 and 2. That's basically nothing. And then we do the same steps I just did, but this time we have the money. The problem with the costs originally is they're beyond the max you can hold at the beginning. And by clicking grant most things, I give myself more than just extra money. All right, so we make a bunch of items on the ground. And now we give ourselves item stacking. And now we make a bunch of other items on the ground. Yeah, and now they stack. And then we make a bunch of other items and they stack. Yeah, now when they stack, they don't refresh the duration. And we need to make it refresh the duration. And I think, yeah, it should reset the time to live. Okay, so we just got to do that. Yeah. And I think we have something for that. Like player held item does this, doesn't it? Reset time to live or something? Item, ground item? Time to live. Do we have a reset? Oh, it's just hard-coded here. Okay. I'll just add that in then. Hey, Syracuse, as a noob self-taught dev, it's very instructive to see your workflow. Yeah, I think this is one of those things that you just don't tend to get outside of a Twitch environment. Like you might pair program for a job, but not all jobs do that. And if you don't do that, then when do you ever watch somebody code or watch somebody's workflow? I think it's good for absorbing some tips. By the way, I forgot to mention this, or at least I think I forgot to mention this. No, I might have. I'm going to make this course free, the Dev Efficiency one. It's the only paid course right now. So at some point, if anyone ever wanted to watch this course, actually, you know what? I could just do this right now. Yeah, let me go do this right now. Or I'm going to do this in kind of the cheapo way. Let me see if I can find this. How do we even do this? Do I own this course? My courses, buy course. No, I don't want to do that. Hang on a second. Okay, yeah. All of these videos. So we're going to check all of them. And make them all public. Done. Now what I should do next is probably update their descriptions. Yeah, it says please don't share this. I'm going to delete that. Oh, only the first one said that? No, they all say that. There we go. Cool. What is that last video? A stream? Yeah, I think we were talking about planning a course or something. Yeah, planning a course. That doesn't need to be made public. Yeah, so unfortunately, I did this in the cheapo way, like I just said. So if you were to go to my website now and try to get this course, it'll still say buy for $20 and you won't be able to buy it. But now it's all available on YouTube. I think if you search Adam Learns Dev Efficiency, it might not already show up. I just did this like 7 seconds ago. Yeah, it doesn't show up. But it will soon enough. And I guess you can just search for efficiency on the channel or something. Yeah, I do highly recommend this. This is the only reason I'm making this unpaid now is because it's just more hassle to make it paid again for reasons I'm not going to go into. But I stand by the value of this course. So now it's totally free. You can just go watch this if you want. It is something I recommend. and the cheat sheets are in the video descriptions. I don't know. I need to follow up and like, yeah. So dev efficiency, remove the price from the site, and link to any notes / resources from the videos themselves. Oh my God, I cannot type today. Hey Kung Fu, and thanks. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think they're good videos. There's maybe I forgot exactly how much, maybe like 40 minutes of content, and it covers some Windows specific things, some Mac specific things, some like terminal or editor things that you might want, and just kind of like general tips. And a lot of this, if you're watching the stream, you see me do. Like I don't type the word infrastructure, I type apostrophe I, and it just types out infrastructure or technology or argument or organization or any of those words where it's like I can do that as I'm talking because of how few keystrokes it takes me to do that. That is one of the things I talk about in those videos. So if you see me talk about it on stream, you already know, but if not, then go check it out because it's a very helpful tip. All right, so the item is here. We have an item source. This has to be a ground item source, and ground item source doesn't have a way of resetting the time to live. So let's just go add that. Public void reset time to live. I think that's all we need to do here. Permanently stop flashing. Items should only flash when it's on the ground. And I was moved to an item display, just stop flashing forever. What is this? This is not needed. Okay. So we're going to do reset time to live. And then we're going to do that same thing from this new code, which is in ground items. Hey, Safe. Welcome in. Welcome, 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 all new viewers. You know, something I've always kind of struggled with is stream titles. Like, we're working toward Next Fest in a week. And every once in a while, I change my thing to a slightly more descriptive for a technical audience, like game dev in C# and Godot. Today was the first time I just described the game, and I think there have been a lot of new viewers. Oh, Blue Jack, thanks for the sub. Basically bought the course. What am I making? I'm making a game called Skeleseller. Check this out. So I just updated the trailer like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. So it's what you see here. But yeah, in short, it's a game where you run a town and you send adventurers into battle and sell the items that they get. It's a very, very casual game. There is some strategy, I guess you could say, but in general, it's like a turn your game off and just have fun. Turn your brain off. I don't know what I just said. And the more I play other games, the more I think I want to turn my brain off as I play games. I'm looking for... I don't know what I'm looking for exactly. I want to play like a roguelike game that has a very easy intro to it and does not do what other roguelike games have done for the entire build-up. Yeah, thank you, Blue Jack. Yeah, I just want to unwind when I do this stuff. All right, so what function is this? Spawn items. Spawn items. Cool. Okay, so anything that we added to the quantity, we're going to do item dot... Oh, no, the item source. Item source reset time to live. Let me make sure I actually did this right. Try to stack new items onto existing ones. If there's no space to accommodate all of them, we create new items. Quantity is less than the max. Add to that. Means less than equals 0. Then break. How could... I mean, this is fine to do, I guess. I don't know if the quantity can be 0 here though. Oh yeah, okay. So let's try this. I believe that was a spawn of idle games altogether. Yeah, except for I think idle games kind of shifted into this monetization nightmare. They're generally infinite. They generally have microtransactions. So it's like you want to turn off your brain, but then the game is going to add barriers to make you want to spend money. So it's a different kind of tension. And I very strongly disapprove of that kind of tension. Okay, so we're going to do this again. And now we're going to wait for them to mostly disappear. And then I'll build this and we'll allow for stacking. And now they're going to start to disappear, but I'm going to make new items and they should stop disappearing. Yeah, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer. Okay, now we're going to add some new items. There. And I have clearly broken something. Or maybe they're flashing and I just need to stop that. Yeah, I need to stop whatever's making them flash right now. Time to live. Here it is. Item.flash. True and false. How do we stop the flashing? Create flash tween. So we can just kill this thing? Does this start as null? Yes. So kill and make null. Reset. Time to live. Oh wait, the flash tween is on the item itself? Okay. Stop flashing. Public void stop flashing. Oh wait, there's already a function for this? Okay. Whoops. And we don't even nullify this for some reason. I feel like we should null this out. Flash tween equals null. Yeah. So we just need to make this public. Oh, well then that's easy. I'm making a game? Hey, Yash, yeah, I am. Check this out. Yeah. Just doing his thing after the creation. Yeah. Yeah. And for what it's worth, I think those things were very lucrative as businesses. I think it's very hard to delineate between addictiveness and fun. Because I think when you're addicted to something, you probably think that you're having fun. And when you're not addicted to something and you know that you're having fun, how do you know that you're not addicted? So I think a classic example here is a slot machine, just a literal slot machine, like the kind you'd find in a casino. Are you having fun as you play them? You probably think you are, and maybe you are, I don't know. But probably it's more the addiction that's kicking in. I think the same thing generally happens with those idle games with infinite progression curves. I'm setting it to null there will change some behavior. I don't think it should, but I guess we can try it out. Flash tween. Because we call create here. Set is held. Pause or play. Wait, why do we even do this? Shouldn't we reset the time to live? So do we ever set is held to false? You could never do this on a ground item source. Oh, this is only for an item though. Oh, let me think about this. I don't know why this code is here. Yeah, I don't think this can ever come into play. Because is held is not called from a player holding the item, is it? No, I don't think so. Anyway, let's try this. You're addicted when you're having fun, so if you're not addicted, you aren't having fun. I don't think that's true. If you pick up like Pong and you play for 10 minutes and you have fun, are you addicted during that time? Like, I don't think so. And it doesn't mean you didn't have fun. I think the lines get blurred when it comes to games that do sort of prey on the addiction aspect of it. AM2. Yeah, I didn't play a lot of Congregate games. I feel like I missed a bunch that people have as their cultural reference points. All right, so we're going to speed this up, wait for them to start fading. Cool. And then we do this, and they should stop fading, and this, and this. Okay, so now we should wait, like, yeah, a while for them to fade again. Now trying to add items will not make them stop fading. Yeah, perfect. I like idle games. Hey, Bucky. Massive ADHD. Need to always have two things going at once. Yeah, the whole watching, form of media A and then wanting to watch form of media B during that, I think is probably on the rise too. Reset time to live. Cool. Yeah, so this stuff looks good. There is one other thing I wanted to look at, which is we call this in here, but then we call permanently stop flashing. This calls... Wait, what's the difference between stop and kill? Aborts all tween operations and invalidates it. Because this is technically going to negate the code that we wrote here. So permanently stop flashing and stop flashing are the same thing. Give me a sec. let's figure this out. What calls this? It's in process. I'm confused. Yeah. Yeah, I'm confused here. Something weird is happening. And that's the only place where we ever call that function. Yeah, I think this is coincidentally doing what it should be doing, but it's the wrong reasoning for how it's doing it. When clicking items on the ground, it's possible that you actually intend to click the portal. This way it's just a tiny bit. Okay, sure. But then this bit here, this is you picked up the item. So the permanently stop flashing bit is not doing what it should be doing. Okay, so when you right click and you drop an item, what happens? We call stop holding, which should create the item on the ground. Wait, what? Fly in item. This could be called from two different locations. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and it just goes back to the ground source it was on. So wait, if we do that, then this is not, yeah, this is never named correctly. So I think this should just be, I think stop flashing should just change this to kill. And then we just get rid of permanently stop flashing because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And then that's going to break this, which just changes to stop flashing, which now isn't needed because reset time to live does that. All right, we have simplified some code here. Yeah, let's make sure it's still working. I might have broken something. You can't reuse it? Yeah, we null it out though afterward too. So it never made sense why the stop versus kill. It shouldn't have changed anything. Do I use vibe coding? No, I don't. A music stream, 2 idle games in the background, dev stream off to the side, writing up a design doc on a separate laptop. Yeah, someone came in here. I mean, I remember their name, but they said they typically have like 6 streams open at once. And I just thought, man, that's nuts. Like, how do you pay attention to 2 streams? And 2 I could maybe understand, but anything beyond 2, are you just watching some occasionally? Are they all with their audio on? All right, so we're gonna get a bunch of items. We're gonna make them do this, start flashing. Then we're gonna click some of them. That should reset their time, but they should still flash eventually. In fact, let's try to click as many as we can. And that way we can make sure, yeah, okay, so now these should flash again after some amount of time. They do. If I put a flashing one into the warehouse, it should not start flashing again. There's no way to put this back on the ground. Actually, there is technically a way. we would need to do this. There. Now the warrior will pick this up, but before they make it to a target, we send them into battle. And now they go here and drop it on the ground. Now, after some amount of time, that should start to disappear. Nice. Yeah, I think everything's working perfectly. So I think all we did is simplify the code for this. You can barely follow on. Hey, Mr. Yasko. All right. So yeah, we're looking good. Okay, reset time to live on items that get stacked. Also simplify the code in the process of doing this. Yeah, hey, Ayers. It's going pretty well. How are you doing? Long time no see. Sync over to here and then check this in. Cool. All right, now we have one more PR left. Make sure start battle nudge stays on screen. I don't think we had an open issue for this. It was going off screen when the window was small or the scale large. How did you fix this? Clamp and size change. Okay, I see. Call next 2. That will forever plague us. So then why did this stuff change? This got a name. Hang on, let me just look at the thing. 1027. Start battle nudge. There's now a control under this. So basically swap these two things. Why don't I see the control in here? Oh, because a bunch of lines are omitted. Yeah, there it is. Oh, okay, okay. Wait, did it always look like that? Yeah, it always had 2 controls. We just changed the name of this thing. But something else must have changed here too, right? Oh, no, they do things based on name. So then, no, nothing really changed here. The position technically changed, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, the names are wrong. Good new job. So I've been busy. Oh, nice. What do you mind sharing? What's the job? All right, take care, Blue Jack. Yeah, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for the 6 months of subbing in advance. It's a lot of faith you've put in me. So panel container and then just clamp this stuff. Yeah, this looks pretty reasonable. Let's go try it out. Trying it out means we need to enter the tutorial, which is here. I probably should add a button at some point that just lets me start the game however I want and enter the tutorial whenever I want. All right, so let's start by having the window be very small. Okay. Now we're going to try to get through the beginning of this. Yeah, so this can go off screen. I'm not concerned about this because it's pretty apparent that the window's just too thin. And I don't know who'd be playing like this from the beginning anyway. Yeah, I should probably expand this a little bit. Yeah, like this is the minimum size. Okay, so there is technically a bug here in that this never gets centered again. I wonder if that happens if I start that way. Let's speed this up. I see. So no, it doesn't fix that part of it. We should probably fix that. AI focused game thing I'm not terribly excited for. Well, that's too bad. Is it that the gameplay has AI as a focus or the creation of it too? Because I think AI in games is going to be interesting. I think it can add life. And I think NVIDIA even made a feature that people can use and that Inzoi tried to use for something But I think if you're going to do anything locally, you need to make it work for your entire player base and not just the people with a powerful enough video card or something. Because otherwise, then you have AI for like 20% of your player base and not AI for the 80%. The creation. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's that's going to be eye opening for sure. Hey, Blouses. Is a version where it empowers our designers, but it's clear there's hope it will go past it. Wow. I didn't think people would be resizing the window all the time. Well, I think this should be easy enough to do to fix it. It's true that people won't be resizing the window, but if they had it too small to begin with, and then they realize, oh, my window's too small. Like maybe they had to take up half their screen because they thought like, oh, this will be enough space. And then they go build the guild and do this. And then they're like, oh, this is clearly truncated. Let me move this. I guess it's fine. Yeah, I don't think it needs to change. Yeah, what are the odds that someone actually notices that or cares? Yeah, okay. I'll merge this. Looks good. Thanks for being proactive. I always feel weird typing this out when Kevin can see my entire reaction to things, but I like having something there for posterity some of the time. Ryan, thanks for the sub. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, for those just dropping in, by the way, so we are working on Skeleseller. You've kind of seen snippets of the game so far. It's playable now if you want to try it. You hire adventurers, you send them into battle, they fight for you, you get items, you sell them in town. We are 1 week away from Next Fest, which is Steam's digital-only festival. So it's not like there's a convention in real life or something like that, where it's only games that have demos. You cannot purchase the games yet, and you can never have been in Next Fest originally. So you can only be in it once per game. So you won't see Elden Ring in there, for example. Elden Ring is launched. You can buy it. So it can't be a Next Fest ever again. But a new version of Elden Ring could be. So if they make Day Rain someday, then yes, that could be a Next Fest probably. I don't think DLC can be a Next Fest. I'm not sure about that. And I think Night Rain is actually a standalone game, right? So technically that could have been. Anyway, the point is that you're not competing with games that have already been like these juggernauts in past Next Fest. And you're like, oh God, how am I gonna top this game? It's got 120,000 wish lists already. It's probably not going to happen. So it should bring a lot of eyes to the game. And based on some numbers I was reading online, I think we can expect, we currently have 1,820 wish lists. I think we can probably expect somewhere between probably like 500 to 5,000 new wish lists. This is pretty aspirational on the 5,000 side, but I think it's pretty reasonable to get somewhere in there, like 1,500 something might happen. All depends on how much people like it, talk about it, spread it to other people, how much influencers cover it. First bug report, screen resizing feels funny. It's only during the tutorial though. So the only time we use that dialogue is for this specific moment right here. We never show this again. And it's literally like 18 seconds into the game. So you'd have to be resizing this to shrink it too small. And then resize it back up. And then be bothered that this isn't centered. So the odds of that, I think, are pretty slim. But yeah, knowing people, they'll be like, this game's broken. Why would I play this any further than 18 seconds? Hey, Bazingo, you mean on YouTube? Because yeah, I just made those public. I probably shouldn't have done every single one of those at once, but here we are. On-screen resize, if it's too small, pause the game and display notification. Oh, you're saying like if you shrink the window to this size on your first run to tell you that it's a bad size. So what we actually do is the first time you start the game, it's windowed and taking up your full screen. I haven't seen anybody be like, no, I want this taking up half the screen. But even if they did, if anything got truncated, like let's say they couldn't read this, I think they just realize, hey, something's cut off. Let me just resize the window. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like show a thing saying, hey, game window too small or something. We could even just stop the game window from getting to be that small. Because we truncated to this size. Like you can't shrink it any further. Also interesting. This doesn't, when you're resizing this, the start battle thing doesn't move. Like it gets like frozen when I do this. Huh, interesting. Definitely gonna check them out. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope you like it. Have you looked into smaller publishers at all, like Wholesome Games? No, I've never heard of that. Let me take a look. Oh wait, are they a like a? Okay, never mind. Yeah. Community that started on Twitter when indie game developer Matthew Taylor began curating games. Huh, interesting. Huh. See their marketing all the time. Yeah, I gotta ramp up my own marketing at some point. By the way, speaking of that, and speaking of the videos on YouTube, I should probably consider linking to Skeleseller in those videos. Maybe just as a comment. Maybe pin something about the videos now being free as of today. Publishers are a trap if you don't need funding, unless you get a big one like Devolver. Yeah, I'm not generally seeking out a publisher, and I know that Ayers said that this person is or this community or something is a publisher, but it sounds like they also just have a community built up, and it's possible that I could potentially reach that community somehow. I don't know. I need to look into that. All right, I think all the PRs have been merged. Yeah. All right, prioritize next best issues, do some triage. Yes, we got to do some coding of our own. Let's go get rid of this, get rid of this, go back to this. Cool. Do mostly marketing, no creative control. Yeah. I feel like I've heard more bad stories about publishers than good stories about publishers. In fact, actually, yeah, now that I think about it, I should probably seek out some good stories about publishers and see what people said actually helped them. See what game devs have to say about good experiences that they had with publishers. I realize that I only seem to have found the bad ones. And that's what put me off from this quite a lot of finding a publisher, because I always thought, what will they do for me? And I've heard of, I guess it's not publishing, but I've talked to some other streamers who work with like sponsoring gigs. I don't have a great example off the top of my head. And they just don't always really work. It's like if you fit into the cookie cutter mold of the publisher, then they probably have more experience and can help you. But if you deviate from that even slightly, then sometimes they're just like taking shots in the dark. And it's like, well, I can take shots in the dark. Why don't I do that and keep all of the money? Benefits of the cost, and if it's really worth it in the end. Yeah, and the other thing too is you really only can ever try with one publisher, right? So it's not like, well, I've tried, we launched 50 games this year and 17 were with this publisher and they did better than the 13 with this publisher. Like that would let you get some real insight into what the publisher is doing for you. But when you launch one game every 5 years, you can't really test that out. So you'd have to trust the community. Magnetic Binder, are you going with a publisher? Oh, we should probably run this. Also, I wonder if we should start playtest as early as today. When I say playtest, I mean just me playing the game and trying different things out and seeing if there are any bugs or anything that stands out still. Yeah, things look fine for now. Okay, so issues. We want to look at all the ones that I had shortlisted for Next Fest, which is not a ton at this point. Yeah. Okay, well, this is probably an easy enough one to try. Although this could also change with the refactors we talked about. Regenerate adventurers before starting any battle. Oh, wait a sec. Let me think about this. We need to we need to not change their regeneration time. We can't require auto battle to be on. Oh, this has a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong here. We tried, but you basically need mega hype for a publisher to go with you at this point. Publishers are especially risk averse right now. Let me see. Yeah, and it's pretty much just what Syracuse was saying, right? If you have mega hype already, the publisher's not going to help you as much. Okay, well, let's try tackling this. This has been on my list for a while. November. All right, you just did Battle of the Road, close the battle window, start another battle. They'll go into battle at 50% life. So this is only possible when you repeat a battle using the repeat button, not using the auto repeat button. So basically, we do something like this. In fact, let's make this even easier. Let's go to all enemy data and let's make bats do 1,000,000 damage. There. Now they kill you in one hit. So we're going to lose the battle, and then we're going to click repeat. And right now, because I haven't coded anything, it's just going to start the battle immediately. So we click this, we lose the fight in one hit, and then we click repeat, and we start the battle without full life. So the feature we're trying to change here is when you click repeat, it's going to show you a time, and that time is going to be based on how long you have to regenerate. We already have a lot of code for this stuff, so that part is not too bad. But we need... Wait a second. Does the... Oh no, this would have to happen from walking in the portal too. Yeah, so you may have closed the battle window entirely or just started a new one. And you need to know why you have to wait. Maybe we already have that? I don't even know. There's a button. That's it? Yeah, there's just the button. Oh, man. I really appreciate how much they helped with distribution, localization, and porting. I'll try to look that up. Did it used to be like that originally? You had to wait? I don't think so. Right now you have to wait if you have auto battle on. So maybe that's what you're thinking of. Like if I go enable auto battle, if I click repeat here, I'm gonna die. And then if I click auto battle, then it's gonna show the timer. But if I were to just click repeat, then it'll start at any amount of life. By the way, that was intentional that you could do this. So if you wanted to start battles faster than you normally could, I wanted you to be able to click this button and then you'd just be back in at whatever life you were at. But yeah, now I don't think that's a good idea. The problem, this is why I don't think this is even interesting to do. But the problem that we have is you might stop this battle completely and then start a new one. And the walking to portal screen has no way of waiting. There's no timer on that screen. Yuck. I don't know what I want to do for this. There is no timer control on the walking to portal screen. Okay, well, how about we start with the easier thing right now? The repeating a battle from an ended battle, not from a new one. So we have get regeneration time, we have start auto repeat timer. When this thing times out, it's going to go through on auto repeat dot invoke, but auto repeat's not actually on. Maybe it doesn't matter, but then we need to rename this. What does this do? It just says on request repeat battle. So it's not necessarily an automatic repeat, even though it's named that way. So there's this. When you click repeat. Oh, let me think about this. Require minimum time. It'd be 3 seconds for no reason. No, there wouldn't be a minimum time then. But then you can exploit this. You could turn this off and then click repeat. And then turn it back on, and you'd skip a little bit of time. If speedrunning ever becomes a thing, people are going to be annoyed by this. I don't think you plan how you're going to code something, though, based on speedrunners for a game like this. If I were making Celeste or something, I'd probably need to think about that. Yeah, so you need to do this when you click the repeat button. So let's go look at the repeat button. Is it not called repeat? It's called repeat battle. Here it is, on repeat, on invoke. So this is just not going to be a thing anymore. What did this even do? I call it the exact same thing. But with this is false, what is that? Is that why their auto repeat is on? Oh, God. Okay. Hey, Panda. Am I learning live? Not really, no. So I'm working on a feature right now. We have this in the game already. It says waiting for full health. The rogue is going to just slowly regenerate their life. They'll get up to full health. And this works exactly how you'd expect. But we also have this repeat button that if I press this right now, they go in without full health. And I want them to start at full health no matter what. Well, the easiest way to do this is to change the game design, and just when you click repeat, they just start at 100% health. But then that also means that now you don't have to wait between battles. So we need to make it still wait between battles and heal you. We need to know whether you clicked repeat or auto repeat. You might change these controls after clicking. There's a whole bunch of edge cases that can happen here and probably will happen. And it's just risky however we do this. And I don't like the idea of this. Anyway, yeah, let's look at this. So here's what we do. This says repeat without regenerating equals true. What is this? Use when auto repeat is on to let you start the battle flow. You want to repeat the battle despite not having regenerated a full life. Yeah. So this was coded in directly. Change the, or like, see if whatever this is, repeat without regenerating, is still needed. Where is this used? Start auto repeat timer false. What's that? Require minimum time. Okay, I see. So we need to know whether you are triggering this. Okay, I'm gonna change the name of this thing. This is gonna be auto repeat after regenerating or regeneration. You have to regenerate to full before starting a battle. If this is true, it means you had auto repeat enabled. You might have enabled it separately. Darn it. Oh, why do we care about this? We should just use whatever status we had in the instance, whether this thing is on or not. Yeah, we don't need this. All right, we're getting there. We're very, very slowly getting there. All right, requirement of time is going to be false. We don't need this. We can't use this. And now that's gone as well. This thing doesn't even exist anymore. Oh, why was that needed? only for this thing, on request repeat battle, which is invoked from 3 locations. Except for now it's only invoked from 2 because we just deleted this thing, right? Yeah, unused event. Okay, so goodbye to that. Now where are the remaining 2 locations? On auto repeat timer timeout and on auto repeat. Now this can only be done through the timeout. Why? How? What is this? Oh, this is on the timeout. Oh God. Hold on a second. I might have misread. What is this doing? What calls this? Oh, I am so confused. Hold on. What is this? Oh, this isn't called from anywhere. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this can be deleted, I guess. Okay, so now we're down to 1 location where this stuff is called from. Let me make sure I got this right. Auto repeat. Start auto repeat timer on timeout. Invoke auto repeat. This is now misnamed. This is just on repeat. So let's, I guess, rename it here. On repeat battle. And we don't pass in true for this. So now this doesn't have a Boolean associated with it. And the listener for this, which is here, doesn't get that Boolean. So we need to know whether auto repeat was enabled based on... Uh-oh. Actually, if you're walking into a portal, this is always true. Actually, it's technically not always true. It's only if you've unlocked auto repeat. What set that in the first place? Walk to portal to start battle. Without clicking edit party and then start battle, would that bypass it? Yeah. It would. Starting a new battle from the battle map without clicking. Oh, that's walking to portal. Yeah, it's need this to work when editing a party and clicking start battle. Hey, Prestel. Happy Monday. And hey, Spot. Oh, man. This is a mess. It's a mess. All right, I think I need to re-envision this. Everything all right? It's just the usual mash the keyboard intro. I can't see how we're going to possibly do this without having a timer on the walking to portal screen, which means that this timer should probably be elevated somewhere in the scene tree. We add a timer to walking to portal. We wait. That code is in end battle screens. We know the regeneration stuff elsewhere. This is just a mess. Everything, yeah, this is a mess. Okay, so the problem is that end battle screen is the only place where we show the regeneration timer. And it also has the code to compute the regeneration times. However, there are 3 scenarios for starting a battle. Reusing an existing window by editing the... Well, actually reusing an existing window, and I guess you could click the repeat button, click the auto repeat button, or click edit party and then start a battle. Then there's opening a new window. So yeah, opening a new battle window. And then there is, no, wait, no. That's the only scenario. There are only two then. Okay, I guess it's from end battle screen or from the battle map. Yeah. How often do you find yourself looking for elegant solutions versus let's just add another node? I feel like my eng versus design sides fight on this a lot. I think it all depends on what I think the impact is going to be. It's always an it depends sort of situation. So if the cost is, let's say, like 5 minutes versus 8 minutes, but the benefit is, like, I don't know, no tech debt down the line. It's like I'll spend the extra 3 minutes. The problem is when it's 5 minutes versus 5 hours, and it's like, oh, the code will be slightly cleaner. Then I'm torn. And it depends on how isolated is this component and what's the impact to the player. So I think there's this equation of how do we prioritize anything that involves a lot of familiarity with both the code-based side of things and the business side of things. And this is generally why big companies have product managers and then devs and then just regular managers of all those people. It's like a product manager, a dev manager. And yeah, everyone, their eyes on every prioritization thing to make sure it aligns with the business. Because at the end of the day, if you were like a mega business, you'd want to make sure that is what I'm doing going to provide any cost benefit or a monetary benefit, I should say. Whereas making games like this, there's no guarantee we ever make any money off of the game, right? Man. If we only cover this for one of the scenarios, I think it's going to still be a bug for people. So we need to handle all of these cases, in which case I think we need to simplify this stuff. So basically, repeat battle won't be a thing. So repeat battle will just trigger the timer, but with no minimum time. Auto repeat from the end battle screen will work the same. When you edit a party and go back to the battle, what happens? It says your party is walking to the portal. Your party is walking to the portal. Probably needs to get changed to, like, yeah, reusing a window. Your party is regenerating at some point and show the timer. And then walking to portal screen is just add the timer once they make it to the portal. They're not even walking to the portal at that point. They're in the portal. Like two people that are not my friends by the game. I think it's easy enough to get random people to play the game on Steam if you have the 10 reviews at least. So let's say you got 10 friends to review the game, then I think Steam will show it to enough people where probably you'll get someone random to buy it. But I think this is why validating the game ahead of time is just so important. It's like at this point, I've heard so many issues that people have had when they start the game that we've addressed, like, I don't know, 120 pieces of new player feedback, such that now when new people play, that they can just play the game and they just enjoy it. Or if they're ever going to enjoy it, then they can enjoy it. Whereas originally it was like some people might have liked it, but they just got so slammed by bugs at the beginning. There were a lot of things we just didn't predict. Yeah. All right, I think I should take a quick break. I think this is a very involved problem. Also, unfortunately, this is one of those like catch-22 sorts of things. These are the changes we need to make for Next Fest, but they're also the changes I waited the longest to make. And I had a pretty good reason for waiting for some of these things. Like they'd take a long time or they weren't really worth it. Something like this one's pretty easy. Add GIFs to the Steam page. Like, yeah, okay, I can do that. This is only not done yet just because I can't really easily do it on stream. But maybe with this tool, I can do it on stream. Otherwise, the way I normally record GIFs is I use OBS, and I'm using OBS to stream. So yeah, we might be able to do this. That one shouldn't be too bad. Same thing with this, update screenshots. This isn't too bad. Yeah, but yeah, I think some of the rest of these are pretty difficult. Anyway, I'll take a break really fast. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Okay, have fun, chat. You can type join in Twitch chat and try to make it to the top. Good luck. GG, everybody. Close the game. Okay. So I was having a crisis before this, and I need to figure this out, how I want to do this. We kind of made some progress with this. It's just that I can't now figure out what I need to pass this thing to get it to work. And we don't have this anymore. Is this the only problem in the whole code base? Because maybe we could figure this out. Hey, Mars. I think it's still morning for me right now. Yeah, it's 11 a.m. By the way, exactly 1 week from now minus 1 hour. So at 10 a.m. in a week, that's when Next Fest starts. So if it were Monday of next week, then we would have been in Next Fest for an hour already, which is pretty interesting. Oh, and by the way, I also talked about this, but the first 2 days of Next Fest, many of the charts just randomly show games. There's no major targeting for those first 2 days. The only caveat is if the chart has built-in like criteria. So if you look at like top wish listed games, those are not random. They're the top wish listed games. But if you look at like action games, you will just see random action games for the first 2 days. So, you know, AI slopware number 472 could show up for you. But after those first 2 days, the AI slopware is all going to probably get like buried at the bottom and shouldn't get any real views. And it was done that way to make it a little bit more even for the people with not like mega marketing budgets. Because if people really like your game after those first 2 days, then the remaining 5 should pick up those games that fit in that category. Okay, so yes, this is the only problem that we have here. Can we assume that this is always going to be true? I don't think so. This only comes from here. On request, repeat battle. So we know that you had a battle already. Start battle as if... You would have had a setting on here. So we just need to pull this from the instance, right? Auto repeat. Is auto repeat on is passed in through the slot. Oh, we have the slot right here. Oh my god. I am very smart. Okay, there. Problem solved. Let's try that. So yeah, we fixed 1/3 of the issue if this works, and I need to fix the other 2/3 of the issue. Okay, so how do we test this again? We start an instance. I'm going to speed up the bat attack rate. So instead of being 2.4 to 2.6, let's just make it 0.4 to 0.6. So within half a second, the battle will end. So here we go. We're going to click repeat. It says waiting for full health. It should just start the battle. It then said your party's walking to the portal. Oh. Needs to walk to the portal first. Yeah. I mean, technically, this is it's at least closer to what I want. Oh, man. I realize now there's going to be another problem. The only place where your party can be in the portal is if auto repeat was on, which means we now need to change an assumption that we had. I want to make sure this didn't turn on auto repeat. It didn't. Okay, but now we have auto repeat on. Now it says waiting for full health, but they stay in the portal. So if I turn this off and turn it back on, yeah, that's pretty much what I want. Yuck, 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 yuck. I do not like this. So the party is either all in the battle lobby waiting for auto battling, or they're all in the world, but there can't be a split between them since they all just got out of the same battle. If they were in the world, then they need to run to the portal again. I mean, we can just change this. Yeah, we could just say adventurers to use dot all adventurer. And then get rid of this. So then delete this thing, I guess. Oh, there's still a problem, isn't there? Okay, so now we need repeat. Need the repeat battle button to make your party go to the portal immediately. and then regenerate. This is just so much fun. So much fun to do. Looking more and more close. Yeah. I think part of what's difficult about this is we really do need all of these different states. We could consolidate maybe a couple of them. I don't know if it would make anything really easier. All right, so when you press the auto repeat button, what happens? Button's not even here. It's an instant slot. I'd love to just know what these buttons are called, because I named them any manner of things. Oh yeah, it's an end battle screen. I keep making this mistake. All right, so when you press this, it does this. Set is walking to portal false. Okay, what does the false mean? Is walking to portal. Okay, so they're no longer walking to the portal. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And what happens when they make it to the portal then? Because this should be done when you press the repeat button as well. Repeat battle button goes to here. So we now say they're walking to the portal. But when they make it there, what happens? I have no idea. I don't even think this controls that. No, we share it up the stack to something else that then tells the walk to portal to start battle. Okay, this needs to be passed in somewhere. So when you repeat the battle, we need to set that. Ugh. What a difficult thing this is. It's on toggle auto repeat. And this is only for the sake of what? Enabled auto repeat. The only listener of this entire thing is this. And it's only done to make them walk to the portal. So technically, we could just have this be like the walk to the portal function. Oh, why does this even need to involve the town? It just needs to involve the instances manager. Yeah, so these functions can be removed, I think. Take care, heirs. I hope you like the new job more than you're expecting to like the new job. Hey, Capillara, I really liked it. What are your plans for the late game? More bosses? Yeah, more content in general, adventurers, bosses, locations, items. And then for the sort of end game, it's going to be challenge modes, which I may have mentioned last time you were in here. But imagine like repeat the whole game, but with some constraints. So maybe you have like more money, but you can only use the farm. I don't know, something like that. And take care, Duchain. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to need the good luck here. I mean, we are making progress on this, which is nice. So yeah, what I want to go change now is enabled auto repeat. Enabled auto repeat in instances manager is really just for walking to the portal and doesn't even need to involve the town. Okay, this is, we're going to clean some things up by doing this. So let's go start by extracting out the part that's in town, which does not need to be there, because this is only ever used for walk to portal, which is back in the instances manager. So we can just negate all of this stuff by putting it in the instances manager. And this is only ever invoked from one spot. So we just put all that code over here and we should be fine. So delete that. Put this here. We're going to say instance equals that. And even this I don't think we need. I'm not totally sure about that. And we get the slot ID, but the slot ID is passed in there. Okay, so now, oh, this function exists? What? Excuse me? Oh, this is why this is just such an entangled mess. All right, so they use the same parameters. Let's see. ID, adventurers, slot, and auto repeat. Excuse me. Wow, yeah, I think we just delete both of those. Is there going to be an infinite mode? I don't think so. I don't know how I'd make infinite mode fun. And this is the classic problem with any sort of RPG is like there's got to be there has to be a final boss, right? But then what's the reward for that boss? And if there's a reward, what do you use it on? And then is that not the final boss? And then it's repeat this entire conversation. So let's say we had an infinite mode. And the laziest possible way is just set no limit on leveling, money, etc., and have a formula control the growth of everything. And you unlock higher difficulties of locations, more item value, etc. So like you're playing the game, you are still moving some stuff around, but there would be no new perks, or there'd be infinite perks, which again, it's just kind of like the lazy way of doing things. Both are kind of boring. It changes the game quite a lot. Modifiers at the end of the game, like money times 2. Well, so that's what the challenge modes will kind of be. What I'm talking about is if you were to have an infinite mode, what would it look like such that it's not like a just kind of a boring tacked on thing. Like a lot of idle games that are infinite are designed to be infinite from the beginning. So you have like 10 upgrades you can get, and they just keep costing more and granting more of something. And then every once in a while, there's like 1 to 3 unique upgrades, and those control the infinite stuff a bit more. And then reset the game with a modifier. Oh, so you're talking about with infinite mode is infinite via repeating the whole game. So that's pretty much what the challenge modes are then, I guess. What I was thinking of for infinite is like, let's say the main game takes you, I don't know, 5 hours to play. And then you want to try like the farm mode or something like that. That might be something like 3 more hours. And then you try like farm mode, but with minus 20% money. That might take you 4 hours or something. Yeah, you can keep trying a bunch of different combinations and you can play again and again. But what I was thinking for infinite mode is a lot of idle games are just like, there's just the one mode and people have like 9,423 hours in the game. And it's just for that one save file. And they plan on playing for another 10,000 hours. That to me is what an infinite mode would be. Beating the ultimate mega boss gives you an item that allows you to turn on or off random battles so you can focus on finishing all the quests and getting all the collectibles. Yeah, I guess what I mean is at some point that reward/challenge cycle needs to end. So you beat the final boss, you turn off the random battles, and now you go with the other collectibles. But like those collectibles are just for fun, or finishing the quests are for a little bit more power, but you already beat the mega boss, so like it doesn't matter. By the way, this is a problem with every game that doesn't have infinite procedural generation. Like take, I don't know, Final Fantasy VII. There's a final boss, but it's not the toughest boss in the game. So they added some extra content. But then once you beat those extra bosses in the game, then there's nothing else you can do. Okay, well, does this work? We had 2 things we needed to do. And one of them was here, which we have now broken everything else because this should be in the instances manager. Yeah, I guess so. Not sure why we even proxied this function originally. And then there are 2 other ones, this and this. Okay. So now this is unused. This enabled auto repeat, which I think I wrote a note about over here, right? Yeah. And now whatever we were doing for enabled auto repeat, walk the portal to start battle, can be done from when you just regularly repeat a battle. Yeah, so something needs to know that. Oh, what a difficult thing to unravel. End screen knows it. On toggle auto repeat. And what does this do? This sets it to true. We could just do this and then say, well, I guess just toggled on is all we need here. Wait, this gets hit every single time you press the button? Yes. So when you toggle it off, we don't want to walk to the portal. So we do need a different thing here. Yeah. Guess it's a feeling I just had at the end. Like I had 16K money that I couldn't spend. Had to wait for my farm to catch up to upgrade my adventures. And then after that, I was kind of lost. I think it boils down to being for a demo for now. Yeah, I mean, imagine if it were the full game, you'd have the extra content, but then you'd eventually get to the final boss. You would win, see the cutscene, see that you've unlocked challenge modes, and then you'd still be in the same situation. You'd be like, oh, I have whatever 160K money, and I still have a few things I could get, but now there's no major goal. So even in the full game, it's like the goal is not necessarily just allow you to have this one save file forever. I think some people want that, and like I said, I just don't know what it would look like or how it would stay fun. We could keep bumping all the numbers up, but I think then it's in like traditional idle territory, and you're not really playing the game at that point. So it's like the game starts with some expectations, then it ends with totally different expectations. Whereas when you play like a fighting game, like you're fighting at the beginning and you're fighting at the end, maybe the enemy difficulty changes a little bit. Maybe there's some tag team fights or something, but like it's still pretty much the same game at its core. As opposed to it's a fighting game at the beginning, and at the end of the game, enemies have like 40 times the life bar that they had. You'd be like, oh, the battles are kind of a slog now. I don't know. Maybe some of this will be clearer later though too. How much more dev would it add to make a procedural generated scenarios? I mean, it all depends on what the design of those scenarios would be. Like, let's say what you wanted here was enemy difficulty keeps increasing. This is very easy to do. You come up with a formula. The formula might be hard to come up with, but it could be something as simple as like level times 2, attack equals level times 2, health equals level times 2.5 or something. I don't know. Just make up some numbers here, right? Now, as level goes up, you automatically scale the enemy. Whoops. I don't know where that just went. You automatically scale the enemy's attack and health. So is that hard to do? No, that's pretty easy. But like, is that fun? Is that all we want to do? And then we just say like, oh, your adventurers can just keep leveling up, and the sludge cost is also some like, level times 1,000 or something like that. I want to see the bosses. Oh yeah, no, that's coming in like probably a day or two. So when you start a boss battle, it should hopefully show you in this view. Just to be clear though, this is not full screen. Do you think this size would be okay for you? Just like a larger screen? Because I don't think we're going to make it take up the whole screen. That way you can still move the window around. That'd be how you could eventually keep scaling with bosses. I mean, it could be, but like I said, I think the end question here is whatever we talk about above fun? If yes, it's potentially worth doing. If no, then we should come up with something else. And I guess the other question is, And what, yeah, like, yeah, what are we talking about, I guess? Could you have the choice to go full screen and close out to the battle? I mean, you could, yeah. I don't think there's a reason to do that. I think just seeing the battle in a larger size is what people probably want, and not necessarily having a full screen. But I'm not sure. Maybe people do want it to be at the absolute maximum size it could be. Okay, so yeah, we have this. I need instances manager. So I need the repeat battle button to call into something here. So I guess there is on repeat battle still. Means I need to add this back in. There. And then instances manager still needs to listen for that, which is going to be done here. Wait, there are two of these now? Oh God, what have I done? I thought I deleted that. I apparently did not delete that. Oh my God. Okay, give me a second here. This is walk to portal to start battle. So the party is all in the battle lobby, or they're all in the world. Isn't it harmless to call this no matter what? I don't like this. It'd be cool if for a boss fight it'd ask if you want to see your attempt, because boss fights were the only fights I really want to see the outcome without worrying about the rest of the game. So full screen would be better. So I have something in mind for what we'll do here. First of all, I don't think it should ask. I think just boss fights, like the first boss fight. All right, let me say it this way. Until you've beaten a boss, every fight you do with that boss will be in the largest screen size. Also, I just realized a problem that I didn't even think about until just now. I'm pretty certain it's a problem. Let me go try something out really fast. I think you can start multiple battles against the ogre at once. Now, you won't be able to do this against the ogre in the final game. But yeah, here, we should win all three of these fights. And we should get ogre blood from all of them. And it might level up the boss 3 times at the end of this. I didn't think about this until just now, but I think this is a bug. I don't think I've ever seen anyone try to do this, though. Yeah, so it says elite defeated. We don't see the banners the next time, but you are getting ogre blood for all of these, yeah. And then this battle, you're guaranteed to win, but it will take forever. Yeah, it's so stupid. So now what did it say on the battle map? Does it say that we've beaten them multiple times? It doesn't. Yeah, I'll speed this up. Yeah, well, that's a bug. Let's write that down. Nothing stops you from fighting a boss in multiple windows. We probably need to prevent this. Oh, hey, Smooth. Sorry, I missed your messages. It depends on how you present it to the user. If the game says GG, you won, exit or continue in unfair mode, then be clear this is getting harder from this point on. But I also agree it doesn't quite fit in the game now as it is. Having a just keep playing button, I think, is fine. But I don't know if there needs to be the expectation that the game is infinite at that point. Like, picture any RPG from, I don't know, more than 10 years ago So like any Final Fantasy game, basically, or Super Mario RPG or Octopath Traveler, like you beat the game, it typically runs a cutscene, and then it might say like at the end of all that, do you want to save your progress? And when that happens, you're like, oh, okay, there's probably something more to the game. I saved the state of having beaten the final boss, but I can go wander around the world. But then that's it. It's not like, oh, hey, you unlocked a bunch of new content a lot of the time. Yeah, maybe there's one like tiny thing that you get. With challenge modes, Matt. Challenge modes. I think people will like the challenge modes. Alfred, thank you for the 3.5 years. Welcome back. Thank you for the resub. Oh, okay. This has been just a mess of everything, and it continues to be a mess. So now this is the latest piece of this mess. Let me keep looking through this. I'd like to make some more progress on this. So we're calling this when you click repeat battle, and we're calling this here. In either case, I want... This stuff shouldn't be done here. In either case, I want them to walk to the portal. I felt lost there too after completing the storyline. Yeah, and I think what that indicates is you were having fun playing the game and wanted there to be more game. And when you did finally beat that last bit, whatever that is, I didn't play Cyberpunk, so I don't know what that looks like. But like when I played Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example, it's like Ganon is the final boss. You beat Ganon, and then it's like, well, the world still exists. You can still go explore it. You can still do all the quests you haven't done. You can get new items. You can try new strategies. But there's not going to be another Ganon that appears in the world. And if you do want that, then it means that you're longing for more content. At some point, developers need to ship what they have, and then more content typically becomes DLC. So I think that's what that would... Basically, what I'm trying to figure out is like, what's the conclusion I draw from this feedback? Is it add an infinite mode? Is it add more content? Is it, I don't know, some other thing? I think it's add more content. All right, so the main goal is get auto repeat and repeat to converge. Party members should walk to the portal and then regenerate. And that's it. That's what we need to do. So right now we've got some multi-purpose for this thing. Quest repeat battle. This does what exactly? It's potentially called start battle, which I believe is in instances manager anyway. Yeah, this doesn't need to be here. Let me write some other cleanup stuff. Start battle doesn't need to be in town. There's another thing, whatever this function is. What is this? On request repeat battle? What is this? Adventures to use. Failed to start. Yeah, this doesn't need to be here either. We can probably move this out too. Oh, thanks, Cavalar, for the bits. The distinction between beating the game and 100%ing the game. What is this game's 100% goal? It's not really well defined right now, but that's part of what we need to tackle in the next few months. But that's also not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, what if you still feel hollow after 100%ing a game? What do you do? And there are only a few things you can do. Play again anyway. Maybe like change the rules yourself somehow, or change the rules through the game. Like, I'll only use these 3 characters or something like that. Wait for DLC, or like look for mods, or stop playing. Those are pretty much your options, right? Yeah. So I guess like imagine any like fully complete game that's out there that people like. Elden Ring. So Elden Ring has an end, I'm guessing. I haven't played it. but it's got a final boss probably. It's probably got a lot of optional content. At some point, you'll have completed all the content. I don't think there's any procedurally generated stuff, so there's no like, random 10-armed boss that's throwing swords at you or something. So at that point, you're like, okay, well, I'll try a different build. So you're changing the rules for the game or for yourself. I'll try just great swords or something. I'll try using bows or magic. But other than that, it's like you're done. You beat the game. Randomizers are very common, but randomizers are basically mods, right? If a randomizer existed in the game itself, it would probably be a core feature of the game. And at that point, it's this is what you're choosing to do, right? Change the rules through the game and play it again. Hey, Kelsey. Yeah, yeah. Playing another game is another thing you can do. I guess what I meant is like, what does that game have as a responsibility, or how could you still engage with that game? Because yeah, you could always play a different game. Hey, Retarius. Only has 238 bosses. Yeah. Hey, John. If the game isn't multiplayer, I think the mods are a great way to make the user keep playing your game after finishing. Yeah, I also kind of wonder how many people seek out mods. Like, I've done it for some games that I've liked and I wanted to replay and didn't want to replay the exact same experience. This is where I think just I guess let me just say this. My overall conclusion is that for Skeleseller, I think challenge modes will be sufficient. I think that's my summary for the whole conversation in the last like half hour. Yeah. And I'm not saying that this plan won't ever change. I just think we need some way of saying we're going to launch the game. And how much do we do? How much do we keep doing? And this is, by the way, this is a classic like business versus like game player way of looking at things. If you're looking at things from a business, you're thinking, what's going to make me money? And if you're looking at things as a player, you're going to think, what's fun? You don't consider cost necessarily. And I recognize that not everyone's saying like there's no cost to doing what you're doing. So now you say like, okay, let's add modding support. You might plan this to take 2 months. Let's say your game flops on launch. No one's going to care you spent that 2 months. No one's going to be playing your game, right? You have 10 players out there. Yeah, maybe all 10 love modding support. Was it worth your time to do? Maybe. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you had fun doing it. Maybe those 10 players all played they paid $10,000 for your game and you made 100K. But probably it would have been a waste of your time. So I think that's where it's like, let's have a launch plan that is reasonable for what we think players are going to want, how much time it's going to spend doing those things, and then readjust based on how launch goes. This is where I keep saying Next Fest, which is in a week, is going to give us some more insight into how many people are liking the game, what are people asking for, what do they say that they want. Do they compare to Factorio challenges? I don't know. I've only played about 45 minutes of Factorio. But basically, just to be clear what I mean by challenge modes, like there'll be some constraint on the gameplay. So maybe something like you can only use the farm, and then some user selectable choices of modifiers. Some are positive, some are negative. So you might have something like, +1 random perk every 5 minutes. I'm just making something up, right? Or this is plus 20% item costs, or minus, I guess, 20% item cost, item sales, something like that. So maybe you're like, oh, I want a challenge. Let me turn on all the negative modifiers. Or maybe, man, that game was fun. I want to play, but this time I don't really want to manage the farm. Let's turn that off or something. Something like that. So it'll be a way for you to kind of customize the run a little bit, maybe make it more of a sandbox sort of thing. And we will have some special development for just this stuff. So like the constraint on the gameplay, the farm right now can only go up to 5x5. But if we have a farm only mode, we'll probably turn it into something like a 25x25 and maybe add different kinds of crops and maybe some like a little mini game inside of it or something. I'm not totally sure. But those are the kinds of ideas I'm steering toward, as opposed to let's make the game infinite or let's, I don't know, add modding support. Yeah. All right. We're still looking through this, and I think just getting this out of here is probably a good idea. And none of this uses anything in the town anyway other than start battle, which is just for the sake of this. But then it goes right back to instances manager. And even this is only needed for the camera tracker so that we know that you started a battle. In fact, why are these two different things? Use start battle button. And what is this? Oh, this is the battle actually began. Okay, I understand. Does Steam factor in active updates or development of games when it chooses which games to recommend to players? Wondering how much post-release updates play into pulling new players. I'm not totally sure. But I think a lot of it depends on how well did your game do to begin with. A game like Elden Ring probably has Steam wanting to push it to more players, just knowing that it's doing well. The way that you can increase your visibility on Steam is with things like a sale of, I think, 20% or more, like some major update, some other things you can do. I'm not sure what, or entering events. Yeah, there are probably some other things that's on an exhaustive list. Okay, so let's remove this stuff from here. Start battle shouldn't be needed. Where is this called from? 2 places. One is here, on party reached portal. Auto fight notification. This stuff shouldn't be here. It shouldn't be here. There is no start battle in this though. Okay, well let's go add one. Yeah. So this needs to be invoked in the town, which we're just gonna hold off on for now. So clean up, make sure started battle is still invoked from somewhere to indicate that your first adventurer actually entered the fight. So we're not going to do this. We're just going to call start battle from there. Oh, God. Wait. What did I do? Oh, my God. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah. So I'm not paying attention. This is a create instance that it needs to do. Yeah. So that can still be there. This wouldn't exist. We wouldn't have the other start battle call. Where's that? Here. This is going to be in instances manager. And the whole reason we did this is so that this entire function can go away. So now this goes into the instances manager. Did I copy the... Yeah, I did. Okay. All right, so what was this called over here? This is called on request repeat battle. Sure. Oh, that's well, I guess we're deleting that. Yes, I guess we're deleting that. What a day this has been. What a day. Oh, man. Okay, what else have we gotten rid of here? Start battle and then that thing. So start battle only exists to call create instance anyway, so this doesn't need to exist anymore. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, no, it doesn't need to. We're getting somewhere. It's just taking me forever. Hey, Peter. Take care, Capilar. Thanks for playing. Thanks for the feedback. And I do want to kind of get a pulse on whether some of these changes are appreciated by you and the rest of the community, of course, too. Yeah. Okay, can we run this? I haven't even changed anything. I've just been moving code around. But yeah, it runs. So what happens when we click repeat? Okay, so this is going a little bit backwards right now. So the next goal of this is repeating a battle should wait in the portal for the fight to start. It's definitely not doing that. Appreciate you. Well, I'm glad, and I appreciate that you appreciate me. What I mean, though, is that I need Skeleseller to be in a good spot, and getting player feedback is really important. But right now, all I have is a plan, and giving feedback on a plan is very difficult because you'll fill in the gaps with your own assumptions, and I'll fill them in with different ones, and then I'll go code them based on my assumptions. Yeah, and that's another thing, Capilar. I agree with what you said. I know you have to leave, but just to generally pontificate on that for a little bit. I think that you do what you think is gonna be your MVP, then you release it, and then you iterate on, well, based on feedback, and then just keep validating as you go. And at some point, you'll have your minimum viable product, and then you build on that product. I think we have a pretty good foundation right now. Okay, so what's happening here? End battle screen is calling repeat battle, but it's calling it from 2 locations. One is here, and what does this do? It's calling on request repeat, which at this point, we don't even need this here, do we? Can we just got in the instance log? This doesn't matter. All right, so what do you do? If they're all in the battle lobby, which is waiting for auto battling, otherwise we walk to the portal. So they walk to the portal immediately, right? But then they don't wait for that to happen. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. We call this. I don't know why any of this code was here. We'll create instance. Okay, so here it is. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. I don't care if auto repeat is on. We just turn that off. I don't care if the end battle screen is on. No, we turn that off. Unfortunately, we can't turn this part off because that's the only place where the regeneration time exists. But we can move this to any other place. Yeah. Oh, except for it needs the party section. Everything is difficult here. Okay, well, whatever. Let's just get this one scenario to work. All right, let's try it. Let's see what happens. I think we've gotten the first goal done, but we're gonna try it. So we start a battle. My character dies. They start to regenerate. If I click the repeat button, they'll walk to the portal, and then this timer should have started. So we shouldn't show the timer immediately. So whatever I'm doing there can be deleted. Start the timer, no. Yeah, there, that's it. Okay. Such a mess. All right, they walk to the portal. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. But except for you can keep clicking this button, which I guess breaks things. So we're going to need to fix that at some point too. You can click, I guess like clicking the repeat button doesn't disable it. So you can click it again once they're in the portal. You can probably click it before they get to the portal too. Let me try that out. So let's just close this. Oh wait, I can't do that. Ugh. Okay, let's do that. And then, wait, I gotta wait for them to walk far enough away. There we go. Click once. You can't click twice. You can click once they're in the portal. Yeah, got it. Clicking the repeat button does disable it then. It's getting the portal enables it. Retires, thanks for the resub. Happy 1/4 of a year. Got a lot of resubs today. The repeat button enables itself after you click it and make it to the portal. So you can click it again. It just shouldn't do that, I guess. But otherwise, it looks like this is working. Does it change auto repeat? Does auto repeat work? So let's turn on auto repeat. They'll just die. Then they need to get into the battle. If I click repeat here, it's not going to do anything differently, I guess. In fact, I can keep clicking it. And it'll eventually, it's just running the timer. You can't really see because of the tooltip, I guess. But the timer's going faster and faster and faster until finally it's going to hit 0. Yeah. So this isn't something you should be able to do, but it's not allowing you to do something extra. So if I turn this off and then just repeat normally, it should not enable auto repeat, but I should be able to click this button. Yeah, although then it says, okay, so there's a lot of little weird edge cases, but they're mostly just minor bugs, like visual things. Yeah, this is not enabling auto repeat. Yeah, so there's some quirkiness here. There are some oddities with repeating a battle while needing to regenerate and then clicking the auto repeat button. I'm actually kind of surprised we even got this working. Wonder if I should check this in. So what happens when we edit this and click start? Okay, that happened to work, but only because auto repeat was on. But if we don't have that on and we click start, oh, it turned it on. Oh. Oh. It's not really what I would have expected. In fact, this probably breaks something. Ugh. Okay, so let's try going to the volcano. They should start a battle at the volcano now. Yeah, but then well, I'll just let them lose. Now I'm going to go to the forest and then turn off auto battle. They just don't go in there, and then I click repeat, and they're going to go to the volcano and not the forest, I think. All right. I think it's working. Oh man. So wait, let me try this again. How did this happen? I went here, I turn this off, I click repeat, it's gonna go to the volcano. But I need to do the same thing when I need life. Okay, so I don't know if we consider that to be a bug, but I'll write that down. Bug, maybe. When you have a battle window, when, I guess, on the end battle screen, if you turn off auto repeat, edit your party, and start a new battle, it'll turn auto repeat back on. I don't think players would expect this. Also, the other problem is when you click here and turn off auto repeat, the repeat button becomes enabled. But unless you know that you tried starting at the volcano, you wouldn't know that repeat is actually going to go to the volcano. That's another thing that's kind of strange. Be on end battle screen from the forest. Select the volcano. Cancel auto battle. And it'll enable the repeat button. But repeating will go to the volcano even though the window shows forest. Is there a reason for this button to exist? Maybe that's a question I should have been asking myself. Yes, I think the answer is yes. I was going to say what we could do is we could merge these two buttons. When auto repeat is, or sorry, when you clicked repeat, then you can turn auto repeat on. Actually, that's another way we could do this, is just get rid of this button and have it only be usable from... No, we can't do that. If we got rid of just the regular repeat button, the only way to redo battles would be to auto-repeat them. Is that a problem, though, actually, now that I think about it? If you didn't want that on, you could turn it off. You'd have no way of running a battle just once. You'd have to turn this on, and then once you're in the battle, turn it off. Or I guess you could flee. Okay. So let me go back a step. Do we have a problem here? If I click start battle over there, it's going to start with auto repeat on. There's no way to start the battle immediately now. Wait, that means it repeat shouldn't be enabled. The repeat button shouldn't be enabled if you have auto battle on, since it means that your party is walking to the portal. Oh, man. All right, so I go somewhere else and then turn this off and then try going there again. There's no way to keep that off. I guess that's the problem. But yeah, then the only thing we're missing is walking to the portal and regenerating. So they're going to say walking to portal, but then they're just going to immediately enter the fight. No, I don't think you're saying you're wrong. People either say enum as though this was the full word, or enum as though it's part of enumeration. So yeah, it's like this, char. Some people probably say it as care because it stands for character. Actually, I don't know if I've ever heard someone say that. But I say char like just to burn something, because that's how the word would be pronounced that way. Anyway, however I pronounce this, there's always a category of people saying I pronounce it the other way. So I don't know what way I originally said it, but I think chat probably changed how I say it. Did I get a haircut today? No, I haven't. The video I published an hour ago is from like 5 years ago, right? You say care? Okay, interesting. Are you talking about the new video that I have here? It was a joke. Okay. Just checking. Because I was going to say the glasses should be a dead giveaway. I am getting my haircut right now. There are some very tiny gnomes in the back of my head using lawnmowers, microscopic lawnmowers, just bumping into a tree-sized piece of hair from their point of view. I bet a game about gnome haircutters would do pretty well. All right, so the only other thing we need then is the walking to portal thing, walking to portal screen, and it's got to use this stuff too. So I should probably make a new branch and check in. I thought it was pretty obvious. I didn't see you also posted a more recently recorded video. Yeah, I published like 5 videos today that were previously unlisted. Okay, so I think here's what we probably need to do. This is a cleanup thing we can still put here. Anything else we need? So tasks are going to be make a new branch, clean up, and check in what I've done, and then work on the walking to portal screen, and then polish everything. See if any other functions in town.cs can... Oh, I don't want that to turn into a link. Where's the... Oh, there it is. Oh, now it deleted the green. So if any other functions in town.cs that listen to the instances manager can just bypass the event stuff altogether and put the code directly in instances manager. I think instances manager is probably becoming a gigantic class. Yeah, it's like 600, 700 lines. Although, oh, these are pretty big. We should probably cut that down too. But it's about noon. I've been online for 3.5 hours and I took one break today. Okay, here's I'm not like super frustrated. I think this is a little disappointing, but I think the main reason why this is disappointing is from a player point of view, they probably always want to start battles at full life, and we already have some of this functionality. So it looks like, oh, just get this functionality working for repeating a battle and for starting a new battle. And that is, as a summary, all we're trying to do. But if you've been watching for the last, whatever it is, hour and a half, and you've seen me struggling getting through these code changes, it's not so straightforward, and we're going to have a lot of fixes, and it's potentially going to open us up to other problems. And yet, from the player point of view, when all this is said and done, they'll be like, oh yeah, of course we regenerate before starting battles. Like, why wouldn't that be a thing? That's a reasonable assumption I've just made from the beginning. But it wasn't. There's strategy. You might not have wanted to start a battle at full life. Yeah, the bug here, just to be clear, in case anyone hadn't followed this, but you start a battle, so let's let this run. And it was harder than you thought it was supposed to be. So cool, you go into a different battle. You go to the forest. What would have happened is it would have just immediately put you in the forest with like 20% life, and you would have lost even that battle. But some people didn't realize that was the case, that they started with 20% life. So they'd go try to fight a boss, and they'd be like, oh, the boss is too hard. But the boss isn't too hard, you just started at 20% life. So it's a bug. It's something we got to fix. Players won't run into that anymore. If they ever lose to a boss, they're going to know, yes, it's because the boss is too hard or because my strategy is not right, and not because they started with some lower than 100% amount of life. Hey, Goose, you excited for the arena changes today? I guess I've already started, right? It was supposed to be like an hour or two ago. So I make some mini games like fishing for my game. Players think mini games are essentially standalone. So much more unique content when it's much easier to do compared to adjusting what seems like easy fixes to the core game. Actually, I think mini games are also scrutinized differently. If there's a bad mini game inside of a game and it's optional, then you'll just avoid the bad mini game. But if it's fun, you might play the game only for the mini game. And I think there are games that have started like that. Like, wasn't Gwent only in The Witcher originally, and they made it a standalone game? And there was some like Blitzball or something in one of the Final Fantasy X. I don't know what. And what else has been like that? I don't know. I think a lot of games, at least in the N64 era, would take their mini games and just make them like multiplayer games that you could play at some point. Blitzball sucks. I don't think I've even played the game, and I don't know what Blitzball is. I just know that it's a thing. Dota 2. Dota started as a mod of World of Warcraft, or not a mod, a map in W3, Warcraft 3. So that's not totally what I'm talking about. Blizzard did make the map editor, but then players made this mode, and then that became a standalone game. I guess what I'm talking about is imagine if Blizzard made a Dota campaign mission, and people were like, "Oh my god, this is super fun. We should turn this into a full game." That's what I'm talking about. They didn't, as far as I know. But yeah. So basically, like, how many? I'm not actually looking for a list, I guess. This is now rhetorical at this point. But how many games started as mini games in another series? Also, there's another kind of interesting thing. Kirby Air Ride had a city trial mode, which they later made for Smash 4 for 3DS. It's probably not the name of the game, but Smash 4 had like the city trial mode where you collected power-ups and stuff. So that was like porting a mini game to another game. That's kind of interesting. Card game in Final Fantasy VIII. Oh, what was that called? I don't know if I remember that. Final Fantasy VIII card game. Triple Triad. Okay, I have heard of that. Yeah. Try to do that. Blizzard told Dota author, we actually own your map. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Yeah. Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. The new Nintendo old Smash Bros. New 3DS. Sideways upgrade. I think that's the full name. Yeah. Also, hey, the apple seed. Yeah, so I think it's lunchtime. It's noon. I should go get some food. We should take a break. We'll come back and we'll do these tasks. If Redbeard's streaming, I want to raid him. If he's not streaming, let me write this down here. Post lunch task. If he's not streaming, I'm just not gonna raid anybody. I tend to only raid people in the afternoon stream. He is streaming. Okay, let's go raid him. I imagine he's going to sleep very soon, if he's not already asleep. In fact, maybe he's already playing like a YouTube bot or something. And look, Goose is chatting over there too. Wow. All right, raid Redbeard. Yeah, he's going to be on the front page today of Twitch in 8 hours, I think, because there's some new Hearthstone Arena content. So it's totally different content from what you were just watching here. I'll be back in about an hour if you want to keep watching. If you have not wishlisted Skeleseller, there's a link. I'm going to stop talking now. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.